What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That right there is your girl Adara, and I'm Sharif. And we're going to wait on over for everyone to come over from the Big Kahuna stream. We already have a couple of early birds there in the chat. What's up, Naps? What's up, Charan Tej? I see you, Ram and or the Chilean Nightmare. I see you guys. Okay, hi. I do you as well. We got Ace Ventura, the Pet Detective, and the world's greatest mod as well. Bears versus Bulls. What's up to you? Hope you had a fantastic weekend. JC Finance, Sane Trom, Pillsbury. We got Easy Trades. We got Peter Panda, Stupid Bitcoin. No. Come on now. Ben T. We got BJ7, Mr. Long Shorts, Billy Boy, Max Trades and Investing. We got Big Kevin Mendoza, Chef Joe, PC Hoon, JF Trader, Trixie, 1320 Wolf, Jimmy Jade, Damonica. Whoa. Juan Velasco, we got Big Kyle Burdett, Futures Eddie, and a whole bunch more. Welcome to everybody. I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. I know I slept up a storm. I won't speak for Adara, but I got my fair share of rest. Good morning, Adara.
Good morning. How are you other than the sleeping?
It was okay, you know. We got our eat on at the Barbarian. I told you I was going to do that.
Told me about that, yeah.
Lot of red meat, you know. So if you like red meat, and you're in the Toronto area, hit up the Barbarian. I don't know why I did that. We're just having a good time. How's it going? What are you looking at?
It's good. I was looking at this TSLA, and then right before I punched in, it decided to take a little stroll to the downside, and I said, thank goodness I didn't get involved too hastily. If we could recover back up here, base out a little bit at this 506, I will take this long. If we can't, if we see a little bit of spice, normally I do not like spice in my food, but I do like it in the markets. So if it gives me the opportunity to do so, I want to take it short to the low of day here around 496, but I'm not getting involved in either way. I need to wait and see what Tesla tells me it wants to do, or in this case, Tesla. Also, too, because I think one thing, too, that I thought was really key is, you know, both Sean and Neil today speaking, I know Sean was speaking a lot about this earlier today as well, is if you have a confidence in the trade, make sure to take it. Bless you. I really agree, and I think, but the thing with Tesla is I don't have that confidence yet, right? So I'm trying to wait. It's, I think, for me, the biggest thing one of the bigger things I learned last week, and thanks again for Neil and Brendan for giving me the opportunity to talk about that last week on the Market Recap Show, but I think one of the biggest things I kind of learned is just don't rush into an idea unless you have the conviction. But if you have the conviction, definitely take it. So long story short, we're going to wait. We're going to be patient. But if we see a trade we like, we will not be. We will be vicious.
Love it.
How are you doing? What are you looking at?
Fantastic. I'm going to go over my trade on Meta in 1 second. But I do want to point out goggles. Google at day's low right now. And Google, let's be real about it, kind of didn't really wet the bed as badly as some of these other mega cap names last week. Just have a look at Google's chart, GOOGL, and yeah, have a look there. So why I'm interested in Google at this level is not just because hanging out at 154, but we have this 154.10 close from Friday, and we bounced off it 3 times now. The institutional prints at 8 all closed above it. The IB low, excuse me, did break below it, but look at the closing print right up above it. And it is no coincidence that we are finding support right now at this 154 level on this big move down here on Google off that 156.50 touch. And then we're touching 154 and definitely getting some support around here as we stall out in our descent. So keeping eyes on goggles at these levels. I also want to see what if Apple's able to break below 165 and close today. We're definitely got a downtrend today on Apple. There's no question about that. It's not down as much as some of these other Mag 7 names, but it is down into the right, lower highs, lower lows, coming into that 165 level, keeping eyes on that. So we'll talk more about that as the show goes on. Quickly here, I just want to show why I got into this Meta short. Because I believed it was a dead cat bounce. So we do this big bottoming tail candle here on META, bounce back up into 7.5, touch close to the 10-period moving average here on the 5. And I said, we are not going to go back up in the way that this candle would have made me think we would a few weeks ago. This is not the trend. We do not have up and to the right futures looks. It is down and to the right. So let's go with the current trend. So short the pops, essentially a really long way of saying this. So I jumped into this META short. We took that one for about 75 pennies. At its best, got out 46 and a quarter, took 477 shorts on META. That's the only thing I want to talk about quick. Obviously, we'll be talking more about these Mag 7 names as the show goes on, well, because we'll probably be trading them. But today, we are talking about bull flag setups all week. We're going to talk, Oh, okay, I didn't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, we are going to be talking about bull flags, but first, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Alfonso AI. Thank you so much for sponsoring this part of the show. Want to beat the market? Then you need Alfonso's AI-powered stock ratings. Their top picks have surged over 100% since October 2022. Scan the code and get 50% off on the pro monthly subscription with code TRADER50. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, we got a couple of new sponsors here, so we're going to have to make room for them. But we are talking about bull flag setups all week. We'll be talking about them in different contexts. So just make sure if you like these bull flag setups, if you are a bull at heart like I am, you're not going to want to miss this week's lesson. So let's talk about the breakout buy, a guide to riding that bull flag. No pun intended there. Yes, it was very much intended. So breakout buys are a popular strategy for capitalizing on stocks experiencing an uptrend. This lesson dives into the concept using the bull flag pattern, a technical indicator that signals potential price continuation. In our week on chart patterns, you'll recall the bull flag and the bull pennant, kind of two variants of the same thing. They are continuation pattern, meaning that they continue the trend that preceded them. So if you saw an uptrend before you saw a bull flag, chances are, or according to the textbooks, we're going to continue in that trend. But we're going to get a little bit more nuanced than that. So what is a breakout buy? Let's talk like typically we do, just to introduce the topic super quick here for all the newer traders. So imagine a bull charging. That's the energy behind a breakout buy. In the same way that we saw the market tank today, it's kind of the opposite way. That was a bear charging. When we're going up, it's a bull charging. Your goal here is you're aiming to enter a long position, which is a buy, as the price breaks decisively above a resistance level, anticipating obviously that the price will continue to rise. And we'll be illustrating that as the show goes on a little bit further. So the bull flag, your upward signal, what we mean by that is the bull flag is a technical chart pattern, essentially resembling a flag waving in the wind, right? It forms after a price increase. So you usually have a big move up, that's the pole of the flag, and then you usually have a sideways consolidation. So it forms after a price increase, followed by a period of consolidation where the price fluctuates between a specific range, right? And that is the pennant or the flag aspect of the pattern. This consolidation, the flag or the pennant part, creates a flag-like shape on the chart. And here is just, a very good example of it. You have an uptrend with higher lows, higher highs coming into that $5.50 area. And then you get that big move up through that 5.5 flat top break. And then you make a move right into 7. And then you start ranging between 7 to 7.5. That is kind of like the flag aspect to it. And then the break of the top of the flag will be that 7.5. So if it's a pennant, it'll usually be a compression pattern. If it's a flag, it'll be either a downward channel or an upward channel. I'll show you variants of those as the show goes on. So here's what the bull flag is telling you. So what information can we extrapolate from that particular pattern on the chart? So number one, we know for certain that it's an upward trend. So the initial price increase suggests an underlying bullish sentiment. So just by seeing that chart pattern on there and seeing what preceded it, we can make an educated guess as to what the market sentiment is, and that typically will be bullish. But there's also a consolidation aspect to the bull flag, and that's the sideways movement, which is indicating a temporary pause before a potential continuation. And that's what we saw when we had that 750 top on the flag. You have resistance at that 750 or whatever that level was, because there is an equilibrium for the moment between buyers and sellers. That tug of war is being won by nobody. That is obviously until the bulls bring up the price above that 750, and we have a continuation of the bull move. And then there's a breakout, and that's what I mean, the breakout above that 750 level that we just saw, ideally with increased volume. You're going to get that break of the resistance level. The price will decisively break above the upper trend line of the flag, signaling a potential resumption of the uptrend. And just want to show you exactly what I mean here. So obviously we have this big break through 5.5. We got up into 7, 7.5. Look at these, all these topping tail candles going into $7.50. That's not by accident. That usually means there is a momentary equilibrium between buyers and sellers. But what we are anticipating in this case is that the bulls will win out owing to the higher lows that have been put in. So we know that momentarily there's a resistance, at 750, but for how long? That's really the question. Okay? So, and the breakout buy, when do you jump into the buy? So let's talk about how to weasel our way into these trades. So the key to a breakout buy lies in the timing of your entry. Here are some pointers. Price action. Keep your eye on the price action. Look for a clear break above the upper trend line, that $7.50 level of the bull flag. This signifies a potential break in that key area of resistance. And simultaneously, look at the volume with the break of that key area of resistance. The breakout should be accompanied by significant increase in trading volume. This confirms the strong buying pressure behind the move. And here is a beautiful, another example from Adair there. There you go. You get a nice move up, 3 uninterrupted or 4 uninterrupted green candles, and then you get a period of consolidation with lower highs, right? And then you get that big break up on more volume. So compare here the consolidation area volume with the volume that took place through the break of the top. You should be getting the break through key area of resistance, whether a flat, diagonal, or otherwise, on increased volume. And some beyond the basics though, oh, there's an example, but I'm not going to bother reading it. Beyond the basics, while breakouts are exciting, remember these crucial points. Remember when we talked about fakeouts? You definitely need to keep fakeouts in your purview here. Sometimes prices might tease a breakout, but then fall right back. Be cautious and use confirmation techniques like waiting for a bullish candlestick pattern after the breakout. And also, be on the lookout for topping tail candles at key areas of resistance. So if we were to get to that 750 again on that chart, and the candlestick pattern would look more like a huge wick up through that level, and then the body comes down below 750 and closes lower to the candle, that typically is, an indicator that the bears are in control at that level, at least for the moment, and usually signals a fake out of the 750 break, and usually it's a bit of a short there. Stop loss orders. Make sure always to use stop loss orders to limit your potential losses in case the price movement goes against your expectation. In this particular case, you're going to have your stop loss at key areas like you always do. So you can't place your stop loss willy-nilly. It should be below the area of support on the bull flag. So if the bull flag fails, the bull pennant fails, you catch yourself super quick there. You may want to give yourself a little bit more room below support depending on how volatile the name is that you're trading. You always hear me talk about range per candle. If the range per candle is super wide, a tight stop is only just going to get you in trouble. The market doesn't care about where you want to place a stop. It cares about what it's doing at the moment, and if it's wide range per candle, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment there most of the time. Your risk management can't be stressed enough. Breakout buys involve some risk. You are buying at the high by definition. So there was a key area of resistance and you're buying through the break of it. So you need to practice risk management skills, sound risk management. Only allocate a portion of your capital to such trades and stick to your trading plan. That means get out when your stop loss gets triggered if it is a fake out through resistance. So position sizing as well as holding true to your stops. Especially if you're going to trade them on small cap gappers, likely is if it goes against you, there's a chance it doesn't come back into that price. They're around for a good time. They're not around for a long time. Okay, and profit taking. Make sure to take note of the length of the flagpole when planning your bull flag breakout trade. There's a reason for that. The flagpole length can sometimes hint at the length or profit potential of the ensuing breakout and give you a sense of where to set your profit targets. So one of the things that we talked about when we talked about chart patterns is that you're able to project the length of the move beyond the areas of resistance and support. So for example, in a bull flag, you can measure from the area of the actual pole itself, the initial part of the pole, to the actual top of the breakout, and then project that forward from the breakout area of the flag. That typically will be your the continuation for the next flag that forms after that, and you can put your profit taker there. Same thing with head and shoulders patterns. From the head to the neck, you can project that up or down depending on whether it's an inverse head and shoulders or a regular one, and project where the price might go. Again, these are just guidelines. They're not guarantees. And here's a bit of a bonus tip for you guys. While breakouts are often associated with long positions, which means you're buying, the opposite can also hold true. If the price breaks decisively below the lower trend line of the bull flag with increased volume, it might signal a potential downtrend, and you could consider a short position, which selling position, using similar principles. I hope that helps everybody.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think too, yeah, I always like when you mention range per candle, because that's a really huge one that I've been trying to like pay a little bit more attention to, especially for small caps, because it can give you a sense of the volatility of the stock you're looking at. So I think, yeah, that's pretty key. Range per candle, RPC, maybe this could be a new trading term.
I like it.
But yeah, so shout out to Sharif, because I do think that's, especially if you're looking at small caps, range per candle is something you do want to be having your eyes on. Right now, let's see what's being shouted out in the chat. NIVF, says Tisha Perkins. Let's see. Also, okay, that reminds me, I don't know if you have this restaurant in Toronto or America, but Perkins, like the breakfast restaurant? No?
Never seen it.
Oh my gosh, okay. The last name just reminded me of that. They have good pancakes. But yeah, so shout out to Tisha Perkins and I guess Perkins, the restaurant. But yeah, NIVF, let's find, I saw this one moving earlier, and this is actually, is this kind of a bull flag setup too? I think this is a nice little lesson of the day. It's not perfect, but we did have that move up here. Chop, 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 chop. Breakout on volume. So this is actually a nice bull flag in the wild you've given us here, Tisha Perkins. So let's take a look here at NIVF. Sorry, I don't know why I'm saying your whole name the whole time, but I like it. This is New Gen IVF announcing, okay, so a potential reverse merger with European Wellness Investment Holdings. So that's the news there with NIVF. Let's see what kind of float we're working with here, whatever floats our boat here on this NIVF. A New Gen IVF group has so small float, 3.69 million shares, not much of a short float there. So yeah, decently small float, 3.69 million shares for NIVF. Yeah, I think, like, look at this range earlier is gorgeous, and I'm very sad I missed out on this. Look at this base of 125 and this top of like 140, 135, 140, depending on when you take it out. This is a nice little baby range here. This is a nice little flag setup. Then we break to the upside. So thank you very much for pointing this out to us, Tisha, especially on bull flag breakout week. And also, the one thing I would say, though, is this 190 area, for whatever reason, we get up here, and then IVF is like, nah, I don't want this area, kind of coming back to the downside. But look, we're bouncing off a little bit. This little candle earlier, we're bouncing off the top of this candle, this 162 area. I think that's kind of interesting. For whatever reason, this is a very arbitrary area for NIVF to settle on, but this nice look here, up 120% right now. For whatever reason, this 162. I think if that breaks, that could get a little spicy, but right now, NIVF is weirdly supporting this very specific candle level. So good look there. I want to quickly talk as well about my NVDL trade, because I'm really proud of how I managed this. So I got involved here, and shout out to Kyle Burdett as well. I was looking at this one already, then Kyle Burdett's like, take a look at the 15-minute on, well, NVIDIA, but I think NVDL, you see the same thing. We have this continued move down, and then this kind of chopping and churning at this base area of 29. So I think that's a really interesting look. I liked it. I wanted all the smoke. And I think this is one example, too, of Neil's talked about this in his some of his previous lessons of the day, but I think one thing that's important is having a plan, but being willing to adapt the plan if needed. I initially was going to try to get in 77s. If I tried, I would not have gotten this short. So I watched, I said, hey, Adara, where are we maxing out a little bit right now? 65s. I got short 65s. We got up to about 68s, and then we fell to the downside with a viciousness. I was also cross-referencing with the Qs to see if we were continuing down, because if the Qs were continuing down, I was staying in the NVDL short. Pretty proud of where I got out here. I noticed we bounced off a little bit of this previous support area, and I said, cut the cord, Adara. Took about 30 pennies on NVDL. and we bounced back up. So I'm really happy with where I got out. Of course, we could continue to the downside, but as someone who prefers scalping, please just punch. How are you doing?
Very nice. I just want to point out to the viewers what I kind of meant by projecting using the bull flag. So if I can show the chart here, because I'm going to need the chart to explain this. So this is the pole. So this is NIVF, the 5-minute chart on NIVF. And as you can see here, a bit of a compression pattern. So more like a bull pennant rather than a bull flag. And the reason that is we're putting in lower highs with higher lows. So we have that big pole, and then what's attached to it is a pennant rather than a flag. So what I'm saying to you is that you measure from this area right here, 76 pennies, to the top right here at $1.54. Copy that total, and then you go over here to the breakout area, and you basically project this length from over here into over here. And then that should be your profit-taking area. Again, not foolproof and not always gonna work, but that is basically what I mean. You take the pole from top to bottom, and then you go to the breakout area through either the flag or the pennant, and then you project that to the top. So that's kind of what I mean by that. I hope that helps, because it's kind of hard to illustrate without an actual example. All right, keeping my eye on Google. I was gonna take this Google long at 154 before we started talking about the lesson, but you know, I can't manage risk as well when I'm on it. So anyway, Google coming in to the 10-period moving average. And what we've seen as of late, when there are retracements, it's often into the 10-period moving average. At first, the deeper retracements go into the 20. So I'm inclined kind of to take Google short here, possibly into another test of 154. I think I will do that. Actually, let me think about this, because I'm seeing everything curl back up, but I feel like it's more dead cat bounces. I'm going short Google here. I'll get out if it breaks that 60 some odd penny area, but a good move up for Google. But I'm just not believing a whole lot in this market on the day. So taking that bad boy short. Let's look at some of these small cap gappers. If I can just put in my stop, where do I want to get out? Yeah, I'm going to go out at the 60s or thereabouts. Let's get out there at, yeah, I'll just have to do that after. It's fine, no big deal. All right, so let me show the small cap gappers. So the one that I like the most is the one that Tisha Perkins just pointed out, because it just really kind of got off the schneid there. It really did move at in the pre, so we do have a definable pre-market high. That's at around $1.53 or thereabouts. Moved up all the way into $1.89. Is halted though at 163, so be careful with that one. AGBA though, AGBA, not a bad look here for AGBA, moving off that $1.80 area just right now, 183. That's a volume weighted average price. It's holding VWAP at the moment. Kind of possibly setting up a bit of a head and shoulders though. So we'll see if this ends up reversing. Look for a neckline break, maybe at $1.75 for confirmation. This one's been running for a few days though, so it is not new. It is a runner from last week. It's been a few days that this one's been running. So good look for AGBA there. Edible was good as well, but it just broke below the volume weighted average price. Multiple halter to the high side. Now straddling VWAP from the south side at 650. Dipped down to 5 3/4. Now not tradable for me. That is until it breaks and takes the VWAP volume weighted average price. So we'll keep eyes on that. NKGN also not a bad look here for my small cap traders. This one gave us a big move there in the pre at $1.85, dropped right below the volume weighted average price before we even rang the bell. Now it's doing its darndest to try to reclaim it. We'll wait and see if it's able to hold above $1.47. That's where VWAP is on my chart. But we also have another one. We had one that went by the ticker M something or another. What was it again? The one that you put on the.
Oh yeah, the Moo one. MULEC, MLEC.
MLEC. That's the one over here. Let's pull that up.
I figured if I said Moo enough times, I would remember what ticker it was.
Right. This one has since broken down below the volume weighted average price too, so it's not tradable for me. But this one had a hell of a move earlier on, so we'll keep eyes on it. That's if it's able to get above that 2 3/4. Right now, it looks like it is stair-stepping down, and it's a short the pops kind of thing. The last little short was off the 50-period moving average. But Google is on the way up, so it looks like maybe this is not a dead cat bounce here on this market today.
Yeah, the goggles were a little bit, I guess the prescription was off. They're a little bit deceiving there.
A little bit.
Also, I like this comment from AV because this is what I was thinking. Are we going to see a reversal in the ES or NQ? So I can't say for sure, right? We are not wizards. We have this magic 8 ball, but we don't have any crystal balls. However, this to me is something worth noting. I said in my head, it's a little sus looking is what I said in my brain, but a little bit suspicious here of this 412.20 area. So we get here, we wick down into this 413.96. If anybody saw that, it swooped right back up to the upside. Swoop. There it is. Now we have 1, 2, 3 green candles. We're breaking above the 9 EMA with a pseudo viciousness here on the cues on the 5-minute chart. So to me, it looks like it could be turning a little bit. And that's why I didn't get short NVDL again. So I was considering, this is when I should have trusted my instincts more. I was gonna go long 45s, and I didn't because I was like, Adara, what if this is you deceiving yourself? There also, you still do have these lower highs on NVIDIA. This could be a little bit of a ruse in the market. But you know, we had that double bottom. We did have this bottoming, this wick to the downside here that does give a little bit of strength for that upward move. So I should have given myself a little bit more trust. That being said, if we make another lower high here, we know I like ranges. I will take this back down into 40s, save a piece for the dream for 30s potentially. So NVIDIA, if you want to keep making lower highs, I'm not saying you're not a short. I just need you to know, I need to know which way you want to go, girl. Like, I'm not going to make any assumptions. So there we go, just me talking to NVIDIA as it is. Also, there was Michael Moore in the chat asking about Amazon earlier. So sorry, that was a little bit earlier. I think, yeah, Amazon, this is an interesting one. So we get here into 1040, 1050. We have these little candles. These are very bearish looking candles to me. We have these little wicks to the upside saying, nah, buyers, no. Then we continue to the downside. Then we see this again, the same kind of wicks, but then we reverse to the upside. So Amazon, bit of a bamboozler to borrow Sharifism here today. The area I'm going to watch is going to be these two little dojis earlier. Well, they sort of, not really dojis because they were definitely more up wick than down wick, but pretty small candles. If we can break above 175.20 with a viciousness, could be a long. If we break below 175.20, that could be a spicy short. However, we have to wait and see what happens there. But yeah, to me, honestly, that is the clearest level I am seeing, this 175.20 area, just because these candles certainly gave a little bit of a tale of downside, or tale of woe, a story of more woe for the downside in A to the M to the Z to the N. So we're going to have to see if this one delivers an express package to the up or the downside. But yeah, I can't believe already half an hour in here.
What?
Yeah, I know, right?
Jeez. Crazy
times. Yeah, I think it's the market. I forget exactly how you said it, but the markets are a little bit. It's hard to have confidence in these markets today, is I think what you said.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling that a lot right now.
I'm just not inclined to want to go long all that aggressively like I typically am. You know, I like to pretend I'm a long bias trader, but it's been interesting today. Because the retracement's a little deeper than what I anticipated. We just got into the 20 period on Google and retraced quite aggressively, but we got bought right back up, and you're seeing that same buy aggression on AAPL. Look at that dip into 164 3/4. Now we're aggressively back at 165.5. We're still below VWAP on most of these animals over here. They're all animals on the day. Yeah, no disrespect to animals, obviously. But in any event, we are curling a little bit. You can see NVIDIA curling here, Apple curling, even Amazon, as Adara astutely pointed out. You got Meta curling back into 479, Softy into 398. So keeping an eye on these bad boys here. I mean, are we going to take the VWAP rejections on these curls, or is there something else to be had? Now, I wet my beak here on some profits on NIVF, but this is going to have to hold above the volume-weighted average price if I'm going to continue to trade this at these levels, because, you know, these ones are not tradable for me below VWAP. So wet my beak on some profits. I'm getting out for the remaining amount here as it is breaking below VWAP. Now we can concentrate on this possible VWAP rejection on some of these names. I'm liking this. I really am. What are the bears in the chat looking at? Are you guys thinking rejections off VWAP, or are you looking at a specific level on the future? I mean, we just reclaimed 17.2 here on the future. We still have lower highs and lower lows, though. If you're comparing to that pop that we got at around 1040 today, we got into 17.2 1/3. Right now, we're just a smidge above 17.2, 17.209, 210. In that area. I think I like the short here, Adara, to be quite honest with you. I'm not believing in the long, so I'm going to send it to you. I'm looking to go short Apple or one of these mega cap names at the moment.
I just went short NVDL, so I'm in the same little boat as you. I'm giving this a really tight risk because it's still NVIDIA. It's NVIDIA's little sister, but I mean, she still has that wild streak that her older sister has. So you want to be very careful with her. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm a babysitter describing or I'm the mom describing my children to the babysitter like, oh, this one's a little bit wild. This one's a little bit more calm. But yeah, so weird analogy, but I think it works. NVDL here, we got to 30. Did a little bit of rejection there. Why I liked this was I did like this double top. And I mean, look at this candle wick here at 30. So this is, to me, this is a bearish. This is like a big roar, a growl there saying like, hey, markets, we're heading to the downside. So I like this look for right now, but I am giving it tight risk just because I am new to the live trading atmosphere, and also I am just in general a little bit more of a risk-averse person, which is of course a little bit counterintuitive when you're trading. But I mean, you got to roll with the punches. You got to make it work for you. So that's why I like ranges, because they are a little bit more predictable. They're a little bit of a safer look. But yeah, I do like this NVDL. Hopefully, it's not going to be an NVDL for me. I'd like it to be an NVDW. But I know one thing too that. You know, Sean and Neil say, make sure you don't trade with your P&L. And you and I have had conversations about this as well, right? And I think that was one of the hardest things for me to do last week was just, like, it's so hard when you're up on the day. You want to stay up on the day. But it's like, if you have a setup you like, just take it. Just take it and try to learn from it. So that's what I'm trying to do here on NVDL. Pretty much flat in this trade. So we're going to have to see if this guy goes to the downside. TSLA is another short I'm kind of interested in here. And I like also that we rejected off that previous area of support. I love support resistance flips. If we get to 505, I will be hopping into the Cybertruck. Vroom, vroom, vroom. And I'll be getting out if we make a higher high. It's just going to be kind of that type of trade there. But yeah, right now the main look is NVDL, and she will have all my attention until TSLA decides if I'm allowed.
Yes, ma'am. In the short on Apple, because of VWAP retracement, already wet my beak here on some profits, holding a little bit left. We'll see if we can make it a nice rejection off this VWAP pop. So it was 3. Well, this will be the 4th uninterrupted green candle in a row, but we're still south of VWAP. That's why I'm a little quick to take profits today, because I'm just unsure what to expect, right, at these levels, because we had such a big move last week to the downside. There is a part of me that says, you know, mean reversion, we buy back a little bit today. And then there's another part of me that says, well, look to what the technicals are showing you. They're showing you lower highs, lower lows. Just play with what the trend is until you know for a fact the trend has changed, because then we'll start getting higher prints on the future. And so, there is that kind of dichotomy inside that you kind of have to battle with. So short Apple, 165 and a half-ish, looking for that move possibly back into 165. We'll wait and see there. Tesla also finding its footing for whatever reason at $140, $140. It did make a much lower print at that 138.80, but that was the IB low there. Meta also making another aggressive retracement off that 473. It's at 478. It's looking to possibly take 480. If it breaks that whole dollar level, the volume weighted average price, the only, well, not the only, but the up next level of resistance in front of it at 481.84. It looks as if, though, the market does have its footing under it here. NVIDIA, the beast, is back at VWAP, so we'll see if what NVDA does at 780, which is also VWAP. We've been noticing a lot of overlap between the market, the chart of the NQ and the chart of NVDA. So if we do reject off 780, the volume weighted average price on NVDA, like we did earlier at around 1040, maybe this market will turn right back around here. We'll break below 17.2. We're a couple of points above 17.2 at the moment. We're at 217s. I don't know, man. I think we do get a break here. It looks like there is some buying coming into this market, so we'll pack our patience. About 4 pennies out of the money right now on the remaining balance on Apple. Not even anymore.
I do love that you said dichotomy. That is a word that I really enjoy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's a fun word. It's a fun word.
That was so funny. I saw a video on my favorite social media platform, TikTok. Hopefully it's around for a little bit longer, please. It was so funny. It's like that friend when they learn a new word and like how they use it wrong all the time. And then there was all these, Rammer, that's me, she says. Hey, say it again. Dichotomous? She said dichotomous.
Dichotomous hippopotamus.
I love it. I love it. Whatever, Ram. You make up those words. They always have a home on this show. But the whole point of that video is, I'm going to see if I can find it later. That one friend who always uses the words wrong, but they want to feel like they're up to standard with their friends. I don't want to be any less than my friends.
Yeah,
I want to
you
be
wanna
using
learn
big
words.
words too. You know, nothing wrong with that. But I just want to use them right.
We love big words over here on, we love big words and made up words on How to Trade.
They all have a home here.
They do. Sure, said that with a very serious intonation, which I really appreciated as well. Like, he means it. All strange words have homes here. Also, I did get out of both my shorts.
Yeah, same.
Exactly as planned. I have no regrets. Shout out to We're the Millers. No regrets with an A on either of those trades. It had to happen. It went how it needed to go. So that's all good. That's all good. What else are we looking at over here on these here markets? Let me see. Meta. I know someone earlier mentioned Meta. I think it was Smell My Finger. Sorry I wasn't able to get to that earlier. Smell My Finger in the chat. But yeah.
I just looked over. I was like, what? What's going on?
But yeah, this Meta is on a nice move to the upside here. Yeah, I like this. I want to see if we play Zuck Zuck Goose with VWAP or if we break above VWAP with the viciousness. And yes, that was fun. But yeah, we're going to have to see if we break above that VWAP area. What's also interesting to me is VWAP right now chilling around this 42 area, which we had a little bit of chop and churn. I like when we have this confluence with support resistance areas and VWAP. So I want to see if we're able to take this VWAP with a viciousness. Also, I saw this earlier. So yeah, so when I said pseudo viciousness, I meant like, you know, like a slight viciousness, like PSEUDO. I think I said that, I spelled it right in my head. But yeah, pseudo viciousness, like a slight viciousness, but not the viciousness I'm normally speaking of.
Like when I refer to Neil as a Liverpool fan, I refer to him as a pseudo fan.
Yeah, a pseudo fan.
He's a pseudo fan. Sometimes he knows what's going on. Sometimes he has no idea.
Yeah, like pseudo, like quasi, yeah.
That's what I always say that to my cousin because he pretends to be an Arsenal fan. Bro, you're a pseudo fan.
Pseudo fan. But yeah, so I just wanted to address that. But yeah, so Meta right now, we had that nice viciousness earlier. Now we're kind of lagging a little bit here. It'd be nice if this one picks up the pace and has a nicer move to that upside there around VWAP, but I think this could be a nice look. Also, wow, I'm happy it got out of NVDL where I did, because the viciousness just came in, and whoo boy.
I think we might be going here, Daryl. We just broke NVIDIA aggressively at 780, reclaiming the volume-weighted average price right there on the monster, a.k.a. NVDA. And now you have Apple above the volume-weighted average price, a couple of shekels, not by much. You have NVIDIA, but that's it. No other Mag 7 names except Apple and NVIDIA above VWAP, and they're not far above it. I mean, we could still get a retracement here. That's the fact of the matter. Well below on Meta and Amazon. Close to Tesla here, 141.5. We're knocking the door of 141 right now for TSLA. And goggles as well, 155.16. We're knocking the door of 155. We could easily reclaim VWAP on these monsters. 17.250, where VWAP is on the NQ June contract. We're printing high 30s right now, so we're very close to it. Dan, the man Emmons, tagged me earlier. NQ, I am looking for 17.130, 17.095, 17.050, as long as 17.245 holds. Essentially, I think what Dan the Man Emmons is saying is if we don't break above the volume-weighted average price, because that's 17.250, he's looking for 17.245. So just a smidge before, and I'm assuming, Dan, this is what you're looking at here, the low on that earlier 8:15, 8:30 print. So let's keep an eye on the future to see if this market is doing things and turning around. But look, Ram, you're not making up words.
Yeah, dichotomous.
It's a legitimate word. Shout out to the Ram. Did you know it was a real word? Okay. Well, then that's not fair, Ram. I thought you were like, oh, okay, you don't know what it means. Okay, well, I can tell you. According to our friends at Goggles, It's exhibiting or characterized by dichotomy, a dichotomous view of the world. There you go, Ram. Well, dichotomy just means that you have like there's two.
Yeah.
It means two in Latin, right? So it's like two different perspectives or two different, you know, things pulling you in two different ways. You know, two different ways to look at things. I'll let Adara, you know, iron that out, seeing as she's a writer.
Yeah, so dichotomy, yeah. I think Fabian, if I heard that correctly, said like duality. Yeah, it's when you've got like a mix there, and there's something that maybe seems a little bit idiosyncratic. That's like dichotomy. It's and you know, a lot of people, some people say like, oh, like that person like, you know, has their dichotomous, like, you know, people are not just one thing. That's kind of sometimes what that refers to. That's obviously not a dictionary definition, but I love that word.
It's an Adara definition, baby.
Thank you. I'm happy I got to wax poetic about that for a moment there. But right now, I want to take a moment to wax poetic and thank our sponsors here at Kalshi. Have you ever wanted to trade on events that directly relate to companies and the economy? Kalshi is the first legal financial exchange in the U.S. where you can bet on any event. Ever wondered if TikTok will be banned, how many cars Tesla will ship this quarter, or what a new movie's Rotten Tomato score will be? Now you can use Kalshi to put your predictions to the test and trade on what you really know. Visit Kalshi.com to sign up today and grab a $20 bonus after depositing $50 exclusively for the first 500 people using promo code TraderTV. It's easy to get started. Choose an event, like whether Boeing will have a new CEO this year, currently priced at 76%. Buy shares at 76 cents each, and if Boeing announces a new CEO by year end, you cash out on $100 on your $76 bet. Don't just watch the news, profit from it. Join Kalshi's 100,000 users and dive into diverse markets, make your moves, and potentially profit from global events. Kalshi.com/TraderTV.live. So thank you very much to Kalshi for that. That is much appreciated there. So thank you to our lovely sponsors there. Also right now, some people are mentioning Mara. I pulled up Mara. This was a wicked bearish candle. And I guess wicked pun intended there because it was a wick. But this is a really bearish candle we had here at this 59. We had this wick up into 1605s, then continue to the downside. Yeah, sorry, I know I'm not in anything right now. I just don't want to rush into anything, and I'm not seeing anything that really is getting me. As Strafel sometimes say, tickles your fantasy. Tickles your fancy. Sorry, that's the term. Yeah. But I'm not seeing anything that's really that I'm really into right now, except for this NVIDIA. So I'm actually gonna get involved in this because to me, previous area, I like when that happens. Small position. If we break above this 30, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to give that many pennies, but we'll have to see what happens. I'll give this at least to like 45, so that's going to be the plan. If we risk it 15 pennies, I want to get minimum 30s here, so minimum 30 pennies. I'm okay with that risk reward. I don't know if we're going to get this, so I might have to move this a little bit here, but I'm trying for 32. So 30, 32 would be my goal for N to the V, to the D, to the L. Also, Mahmoud making a very astute statement here. Market taking stairs up and elevator down.
Love that.
Oh, yeah. I'm just gonna like snap for Mahmoud there because that is a very I think you've described the vibe of that market really well right now, and so yeah, snaps to you for that. Also, NVIDIA, if you want to let me NVIDIA or NVDL, I'd really appreciate it. I do want this short. I do want, you heard me, all the smoke.
All the smoke.
We're in. I hope we continue to stay to the downside. The QQQs are giving me confidence in the confluence. They're both moving to the downside here. So also what's nice too, even more confluence, yeah. Look at these Qs rejecting A off VWAP and B around that previous support area. I'm pleased as punch. I should have gotten into Q short there as well as a side order of fries with my NVDL short. But right now, like I said, NVIDIA, you kind of want to give her all your attention. So happy with this NVDL. I'll be watching what we do at VWAP. But again, if we break below 30s, that's why I'm going to stay in.
And I love that 785 level that you got into on NVDA because it was also the 200 period moving average on the 5. So excellent when there is that confluence between them. I almost hit the dollar club there. All right, so keeping an eye on that. I hear everyone yelling about edible. Edible is moving. Yes, it is. And it is not what you guys think. It is not a marijuana stock. EDBL. There, guys. Making a nice move into that previous high day. So didn't print a new high day. We still have 777s as the HOD, but last I think we made into 75. So 2 pennies off HOD right now, and you see all these topping tail candles showing you that there is a seller in and around this area. But the fact of the matter is we're above VWAP. We just tested the 1025 high. We're above the pre-market. We've got all the right things here, but the range per candle is awfully wide. Now, let me give you details on this. I gave it to you last week, but I'll give it to you again. The market cap on Edible is absolutely minuscule. It is essentially 2 million, almost $2.3 million market cap. The float is 288,000 shares. It is about 250,000 shares. That gives you an idea of how insanely volatile it can be, owing to the low float that it has. So keep your eye on EDBL. This one could absolutely get going, but it can get going both ways. So keep your eye on that. Now, I was looking at getting short on Apple here, waiting for my level to come in, but it's awfully strong at these levels, even though the future nicely moved down off that attempt at the 50 period. I figured Apple would start turning back here, seeing that as if it was, it's been very weak. I don't want to be jumping into this too quickly, but I do feel like Apple is maybe I shouldn't be looking at Apple at 165 because I know that there is a local support at 165. Right? This is goes back to all the way to October that there is that support at 165, like there is resistance at 200. So I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do with this market move and how I feel about this market. Are we curling back up to retake maybe 17.3, or are we going to continue to just dead cat bounce? So decisions to be made. I don't have anything on at the moment. Yeah, this is interesting. Now it's really starting to show you its propensity to want to go short here on AAPL. Let's get short on Apple, and I'll give it to the local highs there. We'll see exactly what happens. But yeah, I think we're holding above 17 too, and that's not giving me a lot of comfort. All right. Well, we'll look at we'll leave that one, let it work for a little bit. Let's have a look at some small cappers. Small cap gappers. AGBA is still doing things. So I'm going to load that up on a side screen here. AGBA. Let's have a look at AGBA. What are the deets on AGBA? AGBA. So this one, $150 million market cap or thereabouts, and the float on it is 16.1 million shares. Let's load that up on a side screen. AGBA. This one, again, from last week, right? This isn't in a small cap gapper. We've seen this one from last week trading below 2 right now. Definitely a little bit of resistance here at 2, but these higher lows are interesting. So it looks like we could be inching up into that $2 level, but we've had plenty of trouble with 2. Owing to earlier here at around, what time was that? 9:55, excuse me. And then we had just a perfunctory break of 2. So interesting look here. AGBA fighting with that $2 level for a while. Let's see how this one resolves it here.
Yeah, there's a lot of the small caps I find that they'll pick levels they really like, especially the smaller levels, and get into little baby wars, and then until they get some resolution there. But yeah, also speaking of resolution, I'm long the TQQs. I want to explain why.
Yeah,
I have
agree
reasons.
with that.
So I got short NVDL, and then I got out of that short because this bounce off that 9 EMA was dicey. I took 25 pennies, and I said, Adara, you got to step out. You got to be out VDL. So I did. I got out there. Happy with how this went. I think this has been a bit of a day where you do have to be a little bit scalpier. And of course, I could be biased saying that because I like scalping anyway. But it does seem like, what you were saying too, what I really agree with and appreciate is this is a day where you take your profits and you get out. And I think this is, I feel that as well. With these TQs, I want to see us get a little bit more of a move up. But anywho, I did digress a little bit. The reason I got involved here, A, resistance, flipping to support. B, this bounce here, we wick down to the 9 EMA and then we bounce up with the viciousness. I love this. I love the 9 EMA. I've said in the past, maybe I'm too reliant on this level, but if it works like this, I can't really ignore it, you know what I mean? And C, it and NVIDIA having this same kind of confluence for bouncing off these areas. Now, this is also a range. I'm not staying in this beyond 49.90s. No sir, no ma'am. So we're getting about 15 pennies on this, but I'm comfortable with this. I'm trying to get more into that zone, more into the groove. Shout out to Madonna, I guess, where if I see a setup I like, I have to take it. I have to get involved. I like this setup. we're giving this until that little wick down here. So this like 68, we're giving this about like 6 pennies. This is a very tight little baby trade, but I liked the setup. I had to get involved. I don't like that we can't break above 80s decisively. So if you want to give me 49.80 TQQs, I'd be pleased as dang punch.
I love it. All right. Way to lay it down there, baby. I like it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to echo the long view here on the future, and owing to this big move down here that we had off that top tail candle, 17,244 or whatever, it didn't quite make it into that 50-point level. I don't want to jump into this too quickly because, well, we've seen what happened before. You think that we're gonna start trending and then we end up ranging. So I'm gonna pack my patience. I don't need to jump into anything here. But the NQ, beautiful hold up at these levels and a beautiful hold up at 17.2, especially because we had all that price action over here and then we dip right into the 10-period moving average and we find our footing. So good look on the Mag 7 names. At least they hold up a little bit here.
Bless you.
Bless you, Ram. Agba above $2. Oh, baby. Is this one going to get going here? Abracadabra. This one could absolutely break that 2.25. Where did it get to last time? Let's look. So Abracadabra. No, I'm kidding. Agba got to 218. What is the, is this a former runner? Let's have a look, inspect. Agba. Yeah, it is a former runner, and you can see that by the outlying days that it's had in the past. I mean, it had fantastic days last May, but in between then and now, it's had these outlying days, and you can always see them here because these topping tail candles usually just have a big move up, and then the body is somewhere near the bottom there, so it tends to mean revert right back down. But the fact that it's holding $2 is a good look for me here. So let's try our hand here at Abracadabra, and I'm going to look for a hold of 190. If it can hold that 190 area, that'll be good. But be careful with this one. This one, the bottom can absolutely drop off. I got caught in one of these last week where we just punched in long, and seconds later, we were already out. So, and it might be doing that right now as we speak. So make sure to set your profit targets and your stop losses on this one, and keep your eye on it because it could absolutely just turn on you. I don't know.
It can betray you.
Yeah, it can absolutely betray you. Yeah.
Yeah, we like analogies over here. On I also love that you called it abracadabra.
Yeah, I did.
And you said it so casually with with no giveaway that you were calling it.
I mean, it's Agba, right? It's
right?
just
It's
like,
great.
how could I not call it
Agba-cadabra.
Yeah,
Agba-cadabra. I don't know. But yeah, so but yeah, no, I like that's a nice look on that AGBA, and may the trade be with you on that one, because we were discussing this in the chat and we were like, what do you say for good luck for trading? And someone said may the trade be with you, so I like that. I got out of this TQQs trade. I'm really proud of how this went.
Nice.
I got out, and I could have given a little bit more room to run, but it's like, Adara, if you like the range, the wick-wise, we got a little bit higher, but on a candle closing basis, we got to about 90, so I gave this 89s. I like to give it a few pennies short, and we struggled with the 89s. Like, we were like at 88s for a good while, so I'm happy with the level that I decided to take it out at. Thank you very much, Sebastian, for saying I have a good feeling for market direction. I have no idea. I'm just trying to learn with every day, but one thing I will say that I think helps me with direction is going to be the support resistance levels, right? Because this, and I think that's just, and it's a huge shout out to Sharif, because you're the one who really ingrained in me support and resistance can flip.
Yes.
And so when I see this little resistance area, then we come up and bounce, and we have confluence with the 90 MA, I go, or Bazinga, as a character in two of Sharif's favorite shows is known to say. But yeah, so that to me, I don't know if that kind of, I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I think, I appreciate you saying that, Sebastian, but I do think it's definitely like a learning curve. It's something I'm still trying to practice. And I would say that this whole support resistance interaction has been really key to me. Thank you, Apple and Raisin Pancakes with powdered sugar. I love your name, and it's also reminding me of Perkins, the breakfast restaurant. So apparently next time I go to Winnipeg, I know where I want to go.
I love it.
But also, yeah, I do enjoy talking to stocks. Obviously, it's not always going to work, but it's a fun little, I guess, placebo where you can like interact with the stock and be like, hey, do this thing, right? You know, hang out with it and see what occurs. So shout out to that, I guess. And yeah, I love all of the funny little comments in the chat. We have a great community over here, so shout out to everybody. But also, NVIDIA, if you give me like 30-10s and you hold, this might be a nice little long here, but this is also kind of a bearish little candle. So je ne sais pas. Then we had that bullish candle right before. So NVIDIA, I mean, I don't know if it's super shocking to say NVIDIA is getting a little bit bamboozling, but NVIDIA is getting a little bit bamboozling. So there we go. I don't have a huge read on that right now. Ooh, my throat. Right now, the main thing I still like is if I can keep playing that Q's range, because my biggest issue is I see a range I like, and then I let that range get away from me, and then it's like, it's my fault I missed it. So, you know, if I keep my eye on it, that's kind of going to be the best case scenario. So Qs, I think they're trying to break out of that range.
Yeah.
If they don't, I'll get involved in that again.
Yeah, I can see that. I agree with that. Look, I wanted to go long 141 on TSLA for this flat top over here, but I was really concerned with the weakness that we've been having on Tesla, and that one was I don't want to call it a false concern, but it ended up holding me back, and it got a nice move up there into 140, 150. It's at VWAP now. What do we do here on Tesla? Tesla, are you going to really start trending here to the high side after that big boy Huadunk the last couple of days? So 140, 140 is where TSLA is at, and it's above the volume weighted average price, with that whole dollar level, the half dollar level being above that level as well. So interesting area here for TSLA. But I just wet my beak on some profits on AGBA. The next profit target I've got out at 15s. It just printed 13s, I believe. So we'll see if we can get that move up on Abracadabra. But otherwise, I really need it to hold above 2. Otherwise, and we're gonna look to end that trade. Now, this is the level that I think Dan Man Emmons was talking about over here. Or no, he was talking about 40s level, I believe. Yes, the 40s, right where we're at right now. So this is the area where he was looking. I like this level because it is a 50-point level and it is VWAP as well as the fact that we troughed out there in the pre. So here comes the future. Critical area, in my opinion. The 50-point level is made more important here by the fact that their volume-weighted average price is going through it. We have that trough in the pre, so if we're able to break up decisively above this level, this could be an interesting move for the overall market. Some people saying they see an inverse head and shoulders right now on the future. I can't disagree with that. You have a move down, so the trend that preceded it was down, and then you have, you know, a skewed right shoulder. Maybe this one needs a chiropractic adjustment or something on their back. But yeah, anyway, it's wicking in. It's doing the shim wiki into the 50-point level as well. So questions to be had here. I mean, you don't want to stand in front of strength, definitely. I personally don't. But the fact of the matter is it's showing me stuff here. And we'll see exactly what we get, especially if we get a decided break, I would say, above the 50-point level, and a close above that level as well would make things much, much better in terms of analyzing these charts for the Mag 7 and the Future. But yeah, things are going here, and they're going without me. And I'm kind of sad about that. Google is on the way up, man. We were talking about that 154 level when we first started the lesson, and now it's at 155.80. Goggles doesn't usually move like this, and it's moved down and up now in, I don't want to call it an uncharacteristic way, but it is, I wouldn't say very typical to Google to move aggressively like this midday. Ram, chart. And now here comes 156, man, 155.85 on goggles. A great recovery off that move into that Friday closing price at 154.10. Google's doing things, guys. If you are looking for something long and the futures allow you to take this trade based on your setup, Google is looking awfully good here. I'm really lamenting not having gotten in at that level, but that's my problem, not yours. So I'm going to keep my eye on some of these names. I want confirmation that the future is breaking up above these levels before I punch long or short on any of these Mag 7 names. For right now, we will babysit Abracadabra.
Yeah, you do have to babysit these dogs. Thank you for using this analogy. It's like either you're the babysitter, or when you're talking about it, you're like the mom describing your kids to the babysitter. Right. Is what I feel like. I don't know if anybody's seen The Sitter, that movie, that Jonah Hill movie from like 2011, but that's one of my favorites. And I always feel like that mom at the start of that movie when I'm talking about these dogs. But yeah, I'm like, oh, this one's a bit of a handful, whatever. But yeah, this NVDL, I did miss my point of entry. This I could have taken with more viciousness. So that is an L for me. That's my NVDL. On that is that I wanted those 13s, but then I waited too long for my 30-13. I think it was also because I was a little bit like, oh, what if it doesn't work out? Also, as Mahmoud pointed out here, don't you feel like the move is a little bit anemic for the longs? So I don't disagree with you, because the volume here, and I'll switch to the Qs for this, the volume is a little meh, you know what I mean? But it was also meh for some of these moves down to the downside a couple candles ago as well, right? So it's a little bit harder to read. I do think, though, that from a technical standpoint, we are, I think, trying to take out some levels here. Look at the Qs breaking above that previous little trophy support area in the pre-market, this 416.50, right? So I do think, I see what you mean, but I think from a technical standpoint, the Qs kind of do not care. And wow, am I sad I missed that NVDL. But you know what? This is not, we're not going to throw a pity party. We're going to look for the next trade. As Obi says, where's the next trade?
Bang.
The thing is, too, is I should have zoomed out before I even was too scared to enter, because look, we were also having that support at that previous chop and churn area. So that should have been a nice little look for me. SMCI, multiple people mentioning SMCI.
Yes, I see
so
that.
let's find out SMCY. Ooh, this is, if this wasn't SMCI, this range would have been gorgeous.
Bro, how
earlier.
many times it was going to reject off VWAP there? My
Look
goodness.
at that. Look at that little base. I'm so proud of it. That's 695 up to 702 and then swoop to the upside. This is a nice look here for SMCI, but look where it's rejecting a little bit. That earlier top of 712. I see chop and churn. I think if we reject this area, that could be interesting. If we don't, I think I would want to see what we do here at 725 because that was that peak earlier. Then 730 area, and then we're going to look at that 732. So those are my SMC levels, or they're SMC my levels, so I don't know. But yeah, I guess you'll have to SMC for yourself. But no, I also want to see what we do at this VWAP bounce, because as Sharif pointed out, this 700 area, yes, or sorry, 702 was the top of the range, but also it was below VWAP. So what will we do at VWAP?
Very good
That
question.
could be very much of interest. Also, shout out to your AGBA trade, because I saw a fist bump. So that seemed like it went very well.
It went, and there it goes. We're out of it now, Adara, sadly. But there it goes to the high side. Abra dang cadabra to the high side, baby. AGBA up 74 big ones, and it looks like it's continuing to head up. But let me tell you, I've got another trade on that I'm wetting my beak on right now, and it goes by the name AAPL. We just took some profits on there, wetting the beak there on that nice move down. A big topping tail candle came in on the future when we touched the 200 period moving average on the 5, and that precipitated a nice move down on NVDA and Meta and Softy and some other names as well, Apple included. So we were able to scalp this bad boy on the day, hoping for a bigger move down here on AAPL. But we'll pack our patience there, as we're about 10 pennies in the money. Nothing really to write home about on this particular trade. But what I'm seeing right now is a topping tail candle. Oh, hi, Adara. Coming in here on the future. The blue line is the 200 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. This is a 5-minute look here on the NQ June contract. And I hate these type of candles if I'm a bull. Okay? But look, you don't put all your stock into one candle. It's not the end all and be all. It is one thing to keep your eye on. That's all I'm trying to say about there. We're still above VWAP. We're still above the 50-point moving average. Sorry, the 50-point area, 50-point moving average. Get it together, Sharif. So we'll see exactly what we get here, but it's caused me to get into a short on Apple, and I already went my beak on some profits. So we'll see there. Also, Softy rejected VWAP and rejected yesterday's closing print, and down goes Apple. So looking to take some more profits here, Adara, as hopefully we can continue to go down a little bit more.
Take a bite out of your Apple profits?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
There you go. Yeah, so I agree with what you have to say with not taking a trade on one candle. That was why I was initially hesitant to enter this Q short. The reason I did enter, though, is because look at this trough area. I said earlier, oh, we broke above it. Then we rejected it. So I said, oh, this could be interesting, but now we're popping back up, so this could get a little bit dicey here.
I know. Tell me about it.
We're gonna leave this trade. We're gonna give this 10 pennies. I got it at 506. We're gonna give this like 50, sorry, not 506, 5006. We're gonna give this like 50, 15, 9 pennies. I'm comfortable with that risk reward ratio. But I think the TQs are gonna shake us out here a little bit. Also, shout out to Darwin saying Meta platforms. This is a news here. I'm gonna get confirmation on this. I'm actually gonna quickly exit my short first, and then I'm gonna check here on this META. But yeah, so thank you. This coming from Reuters. Meta Platform says opening up operating system powering our MetaQuest devices to third-party hardware makers. App Lab titles will soon be featured in a dedicated section of Meta Horizon Store on all our devices, also developing new spatial app framework that helps mobile developers create mixed reality experiences. So thank you so much, Darwin, for putting that headline in there. And I did check, got all the deets on that from Reuters. So yeah, interesting look. So basically, to summarize that, Meta trying to have its operating system open on third-party hardware devices, and that's specifically the operating system with Meta Quest. So now I guess other people will be able to partake in this Quest with that operating system. Yeah, this is Meta is a nice stair step to the upside. We had this lower low here set 470, I guess 474. Now climbing to the upside. Nice bounce off that 9 EMA, swoop to the upside. I think what we do at VWAP here could be interesting. And I said earlier, I like 482. I still like 482. Confluence with VWAP and that top and churn area earlier. 482 still a level for me, and we're about $2 away. Darwin accurately saying, though, market sleeping on that news.
Have you seen Zuck lately? My man's getting like a whole makeover.
Oh, yeah,
done.
people were talking about this in social
Zuck,
media.
yeah, Ram, let me know when we got that ready. Eh? She'll let me know, okay, because, yeah, Zuck's got a new style. But I also want to mention something about the Zucksters there on the weekend is now when you go into the gram, or Neil told me WhatsApp as well. So if you go into your Instagram and you go into the search page and you go into the little search bar at the top there, it goes Ask Meta AI Anything, which I find to be pretty cool because it's been wrong like twice today, so it's all good. Come on, Llama, you could do better than that. No, it hasn't been nearly as good as some of these other ones. So I don't know if you guys have enjoyed the new Meta look in AI, but I personally haven't so far, so let me know. There we go. So my man Zuck over here, he's doing different things. Look. He went from Mr. Steal Your Data on the left. Now he's going to take your woman, right? Like now you better hide your data and your girl when Zuck's around. Because let me tell you, that next look on the right, and he's got the gold chain there. My man, he's got the curls. He's doing everything he needs to do. He's got his little, yeah, the little scruff. Yo, Zuck's doing things, eh? Cheers.
Yeah, he is. I mean, one thing though too is they did him dirty in that first photo. I feel he looks like, look at those bags under his eyes.
There, yeah.
Yeah, but he looks very sleepy.
He does actually.
He does look very sleepy. That's, you know what I mean? Like I think he was out of Zuck when they took that photo. Yeah, wasn't I was trying to make an out of luck pun. It wasn't perfect, but yeah, I mean that look, that's certainly a look in that second photo.
Hear what the Chilean Nightmare says? He's like, let's be real, man. You know, it's a replacement. It's not really Zuck.
Well, some people were saying it looks like AI tampered with.
Well, yeah. A lot of people have been doing that.
Yeah.
I just want to point out quickly that Abracadabra just broke HOD on the day and is continuing to print new high days. AGBA is going. There goes 2 1/3. Now up 84.5%. Great move up here for Agba. We participated in a little bit, but let's be real about it. This move is continuing here without us, and the crux of the move is going without us. Abracadabra onto the high side here, baby. If you're into small cap stocks, keep your eye on this one, but make sure to exercise sound risk management strategies, as this one does not look that good. I gotta tell you, I keep shorting Apple only to get out, but this one keeps looking like a short to me, so I'm getting short again here on AAPL. We'll see what we get. We keep doing this wick shimmy into 1670. And 1670 keeps rejecting. So I feel like we're doing a rounded top. I could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong, especially if the future keeps holding up. I got to tell you, though, that Google put in 2 topping tail candles at 156 1/4. It's down into 156 now. So we'll see if this market's kind of topped out for now. I'm short Apple.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, too, is I feel like Apple is one that does like to mess with your feelings a little bit.
It does.
Tricky little
it's
stuff.
not a guaranteed trade, no question
But
about
yeah,
it.
I mean, but I think, like, I know it's one that you trade a lot. You have a good feel for Apple.
We'll see.
Yeah, we're going to hope you get some bites out of the apple there. Whichever apple flavor.
The Katina Man is long MARA at the moment.
Let's
long
look at-
Mara right now. Neil,
Ooh.
are you...
It's a nice look. Very nice look there. Shout out to Sean, who's on that marathon to the upside with MARA. I need to look at my IBIT, because usually I've already looked at a bit of IBIT as of this point. And wow, I like this. I like this triple bottom, and I didn't get involved because I was like, Adara, how do you know? But it's like, look at these candles to the downs. Oh, Adara. Okay, a little bit saucy at myself, but that's okay. We're not going to be negative Nelly or a Debbie Downer. We're going to keep finding opportunities to make these trades. I do like this long off that 90 EMA potentially, but I also don't like this VWAP projection. So I'm going to keep my eye and see what's shaking out here. The other thing I kind of like is this long off the TQs. Now I know you're thinking, Adara, you're going to go long where you previously went short. Well, I was like, this is, this could be support becoming resistance. And that candle was, it did give you some feeling it could have been, but now we're bouncing off view up. We are seeing that previous support area. We're seeing it be a little bit of a trampoline. I like this look. I think this could hold up pretty nicely. I want to, have a conversation with the Qs. Yes, but the Qs are doing the same thing. TQs, let's do it, Adara. Woo! So we're gonna punch in there. I think I probably missed the boat a little bit. I think I was a little bit late. But right now, we're not gonna ever be late for Neil's lesson of the day. There he is.
Thank you, and we're going right into what I think is a good lesson of the day here, because we've talked about bias before. We've talked about bias many times, and to be honest, you're never going to go into a trading day without some kind of an idea of what you think might happen, right? And some days it's going to be stronger than others. But what happens when there are trading opportunities on the other side, and how should you get into them, and what should you do in your face with that opportunity or that reality? So Friday was crazy. It was one of the bigger down days that we've seen, and if you're a new trader, it's probably the biggest down day you've seen in the market. You had NVIDIA go short sell restricted over 10% down. You had double digits, over 20% down in SMCI. You had ARM, which went SSR as well. So you had these massive moves down. Pretty much everything was red. The NASDAQ got smoked. Everyone's doom and gloom. This is going to be the end of it. Now, clearly, a lot of people are going to come in with a short bias on a Monday morning in a situation like that, because the trends on some of these chip names has been red. You throw how disgusting it was to the downside as well, and I don't think I can fault anybody for coming in looking for short opportunities. Now, obviously, in complete hindsight, the shorts ended up working if you shorted the pops. You just had to be patient for it. But what happens when you're thinking we were down overall? When I come to a daily chart, we're still in a downward trend. When I look at most of the individual names on a daily, they're either lost a 50 period or trending down, or they're underneath major moving averages, and I want to be thinking generally about the short. How do I get into longs if things are ripping faces off? If there are long opportunities, what am I supposed to do there? So what I would say to you is there should be little pockets for short-term momentum traders to look for the other direction, but it's got to really fit the bill. And what I mean by that is, if I'm going to look for longs when my overall bias is short, or look for winning trades into the long side, well, how do I not want them to appear? And I'll use something that didn't work today. And this is not to say Snapchat, good, bad, whatever. I'll take dip buys at key price levels oftentimes. But if you're looking for a long and your overall bias is short, maybe the dip into big support after a gap up isn't the best strategy. Why is that? Because the stock is trending down. Now, it's easy to say that in hindsight, but sometimes you've got to take that extra step back. And when you're doing your preparation, say, if it is super weak to get into that level, maybe I need a little extra reason to go into that long, or maybe I don't need that long at all. And I only want to look for the A+ long setups, the ones that are bullish through and through, where you're never even concerned about it, where you know that is buy momentum. The lesson of the day, the lesson that you guys are listening to right now in the midday Learn to Trade is about bull, bear breakouts on small caps. So why don't you look for those clear momentum trades to the long side? What you can find then is, if it's not trending up, if it's not showing relative strength, and if it's not showing a pretty clear bullish pattern, then I don't want to trade if my overall bias is short. So here's an example. What does that look like to me? Well, Alibaba. Now, obviously, I'm going to show you that I trailed out underneath 70. That was a mistake, obviously. But let's be real. What happens here? Am I trying to trade where I buy the dip into previous support? Well, that would have worked. I could have bought the dip into the previous close if I was bullish on Alibaba. It would have worked out, but that's exactly what Snapchat looked like. It was trending down at that moment. So if I'm going to look for long trades when my bias is short, then not going long at the bottom. I'm not taking that trade, because what does that look like? That's a lower high that if I was shorting, I'd be shorting pops. That's shorting pops. I'm not going to take the aggressive line. I'm going to take the higher low into the clean break, that style of trade. It's a bull flag, but it's a breakout. It's relatively strong. It's making higher lows and is green when the market is up. So that's what I want to go over to. And the best thing about it, and I think what's important if you're going to be going against that grain, is if the overall trend is down, then you want to take your profits on your longs where you have them. Because you think, if the trend is down, that the market's going to make a top and reverse at some point, maybe in the morning, maybe at lunchtime, maybe in the afternoon. And that brings me to the other setup, which is almost exactly like what the BABA was, and that's NVIDIA. Gapped up, doesn't even get to the pre-market low, holds the first support level at 775, then makes another double top for a breakout trade. And when I say take profits, it goes right into a previous resistance from Friday's levels. So you don't have to abandon your notion that I think it's going to be a short day to have this breakout that just sets up for you for a clean in and out. If you like the shorts, I don't think you want to be shorting that anyways. You're probably waiting for it to break and get closer to 800. So it's not as if it's violating your overall bias to take that quick momentum break. That's the difference. It's a momentum breakout. It's stair step to the upside, and you're in and out like a bit of a bandit, and you're not violating what you think is going to be the overall course, which is to the downside. You stay nimble. If you're too aggressive in finding longs when you're overall bearish or finding shorts when you're overall bullish, not only are you going to find yourself buying at lows and under pressure in your trades, but then you're going to miss the other side of the trade because you're forcing that other direction too much. And the beauty of getting in and out on a quick momentum break is it's meant to be a quick trade. You're taking it from point A to point B. That's why I like the breakout as opposed to trying to fit the trend long when you think it's a short. So if you just join the trend briefly on a really tight setup, you get in, get out, take your profits, you're then now flat and able to go back to what you thought was going to be the case, which is go into and looks to short some pops. Like when I got out of NVIDIA, AMD was at a resistance level, I jumped over into that bad boy, and we shorted that. Now, if I'm sitting there trying to force NVIDIA, like, oh, I'm holding on to more of my NVIDIA long, or I'm looking for a place to add, am I really going to short? Am I going to make this short if I'm trying to add to NVIDIA, or I'm trying to hold an NVIDIA long? I guarantee I'm probably not going to do that because I'm invested in the long working. But I've taken that quick little pot shot. You end up also wetting your beak, and you're not sitting out so much of the action and volatility at the open where you know there's going to be profits. So I'm not saying you can't buy dips at all if you're bearish, because sometimes that trade's going to be there. But if you can find something which is a little bit stronger, gives you a little bit more confluence, and allows you to get in and out for good gains without having to hold on to it against the grain, a little easier to do that when you've got a strong bias in the other direction, because you do want to respect your overall plan. And part of your plan is going to be directional bias oftentimes. So I hope the lesson of the day helps you. Once again, it is just about respecting your plan, finding that little bit of a fine-tune and adjustment to be able to look for maybe some longs when you're feeling the short. But don't stray too far away from that plan. Get in, get out, but as always, adhere to your risk parameters. I can't say that enough. At the end of the day, if you don't adhere to your stops, adhere to your risk reward, none of those patterns are going to matter. When that breakout trade works, fantastic, but make sure you're not getting out on a breakout if it doesn't go right away. Don't turn that into a buy the dip. So that's your lesson of the day. We're happy to bring it to you every single day, guys, but good luck out there.
Thank you very much, Neil. Excellent lesson of the day. Neil, Liverpool's favorite pseudo fan. So shout out to the Neil. All right, let's keep going here. Topping tail candle on AAPL as well. We can see a topping tail candle on the future as well because we just moved into 17.3 and then bounced a little bit down. But I got to tell you, I mean, it feels like the market's shifting a little bit here. At least for the moment. Higher highs, higher lows coming in on some of these Mag 7 names. I'm talking about Tesla, NVIDIA, and Google. Google just touched day's high at 156.48. The best of them all on the day is NVIDIA, obviously, but second best is GOOGL, up 1.40. And I got to tell you, the chart on Google looks a little bit better than on NVIDIA right now. At least I think we just touched highs. Pretty sure. Off it by a few pennies. So technically 154.48 HOD, we just printed 42s. So big move up. AAPL, look at that topping tail candle on Apple. That's really, really ugly there. I was short Apple, got out when it broke 70, and then all of a sudden you get that big topping tail candle and right back down we go. So bamboozlement central on some of these Mag 7 names. I'm going to keep looking here to see if we reject 17.3 or this topping tail candle that we're put in right now on the futures is indicative of what may come next, which is a reversal down. So not going to jump into anything, waiting for more information from what the information that I'm getting right now from the future, Dara.
Yes, there's a pattern I've noticed on the cues, and I wanna say it, and this could be just in my head, but I want to point it out. So what we'll do is we'll kind of get into an area, and we started here. So we get into on the QQQ, this is going to be 416.47. So look, we come here, we bounce. Actually, I think, is it clear on the TQs? I think it might be clear on the TQs. Yeah, so it's okay on both. But we got to get, I'll go back to the Qs then. So we get, we have that little area here, this 416.50, right? That was a huge area of support in the pre. Nice little trough that we're just hanging out in, right? Look where we get there, and I was like, whoa, we broke above that previous potential resistance area. Then we have that wick down below, right? And it actually starts to look a little bit bearish. Then we bounce back up. We see this chop and churn, chop and churn. Then the Qs make up their minds. They get off the schneid, as is sometimes said on the show, and they continue to the upside. Look what happened again. And I say that because this was another previous area of support we come into. We get in there, we reject. My theory is that we're going to keep bouncing. And I say that because so far we have on the TQs. So I actually think this is a long, for me anyway, and at least short term and at least very scalpish, because this is a pattern we've seen. We break above, you know how sometimes support will serve as resistance? We break above that support, we don't find it as resistance, then we kind of volley around a little bit, find it as support before continuing to move to the upside. So at least for me, I see this as a potential impetus to take a small position to the upside. I might have missed the opportunity by waxing poetic on said opportunity, but I just wanted to point that out in case anybody else noticed that. So that, I mean, and who knows if this is relevant, right? It's just one person's observations, but more than one person's observations, we will all be observing the lovely lesson of the day. All right. Which is going to be on bull flag breakouts and riding the bull flag.
Yes, it is. I love the purposeful pun there, which I did on purpose. All right, guys, so we're talking about the breakout buy, a guide to riding the breakout bull flag. So let's just preface this whole argument. Breakout buys are a popular strategy for capitalizing on stocks experiencing an uptrend. This lesson will dive into the concept using the bull flag pattern, which is a technical indicator that signals potential price continuation. You'll recall that from our week on chart patterns, and we talked about the continuation patterns and the reversal patterns and where to spot them. So what is a breakout buy? We'll just start by that. So imagine a bull charging at you or charging in a direction. That is the energy behind the breakout buy as opposed to a bear, which would be to the downside. Your goal here is you're aiming to enter a long position, which is a buy order, as the price breaks decisively above a resistance level, anticipating that the price will continue in the upward direction. So this is your upward signal. The bull flag is a technical chart pattern resembling a flag waving in the wind. It forms after a price increase followed by a period of consolidation. So you get a big move up, that's the pull, and then you get a sideways move, that's the consolidation, where the price fluctuates between a specified range, sometimes dollars, sometimes pennies. It really depends on the stock. This consolidation creates a a flag-like shaped on the chart, and that's what we're talking about here. So you can see from the breakout area off $5, that's where we start measuring the bull flag. I would have measured it off $5.50 personally, but whoever drew out this chart wrote it from $5 or $5.50 looks like the better level to me, all the way up into about 7.25. Then you can see we start ranging a bit in between 6.5 and 7.5, with 7.5 being that obvious top because we keep getting wicks into 7.5, all of which have sold off. So we know for a fact that 7.5 is the top area of that consolidation range. So what we look for is a decided break through that range, but we're not just looking for the break. We're not looking for a $7.51 print, $7.52. There's going to be criteria that we need to see in order to get long. That's what we're going to talk about here, right? So before we talk about exactly what we need to see to get long, what does the bull flag tell us? What information are we comprehending, are we extrapolating from the chart pattern of a bull flag? Well, number one is that there's an upward trend. So the initial price increase suggests the underlying bullish sentiment. So the fact that there's an upward trend, we can take from that there is bullish sentiment amongst market participants. But then there's also a consolidation phase that takes place after the big bull move up. The sideways movement indicates a temporary pause before a potential continuation. So it's incumbent upon you to be able to draw out the consolidation range. I just gave it to you there on the last example. It was about 6.5 to 7.5. It's not always going to be the same on every stock, right? So you need to see where it's ranging from. And sometimes it's not going to be a range. It's going to be a channel, an upward channel, a downward channel, or even a compression pattern where you're getting lower highs yet higher lows. And so that's a bull pennant. Very similar thing to a bull flag. So it's incumbent upon you to look at what the consolidation range is so you can know what price to take for the breakout. And then the breakout comes to fruition, ideally with increased volume. So you need to have one eye on the price and then the other eye on the volume. You got to be all crooked eye and stuff. You know what I mean? Remember, Neil, remember this? One eye looking at me, the other one looking at Rick. Right, that's from Rick. That's from Chappelle's show. Anybody who knows exactly. The bouncer, right? Yeah, he came in to defend Rick James after Charlie Murphy put a whooping on him. But yeah, ideally with increased trading volume, so looking at the price and looking at the volume accompanying the breakout of the range, the price decisively breaks above the trend line, so that's 750 on our example, signaling a potential resumption of the uptrend. But I want you to be careful here. Look for certain candles that form at the breakout area. So if you see a topping tail candle go through 750, so you get a quick wick up of that key area of resistance, but the price comes down and closes to the low end of the candle, you need to be wary there. That could be a fake breakout or a false breakout, whatever you want to call it. So how do we jump into the bull flag pattern? How do we get in? So let's talk about this. So key to a breakout buy lies in timing your entry precisely. Here are some pointers. So the first thing is price action. Look for a clear break above the trend line of the bull flag. This signifies a potential break in resistance. So that 750 area that we were talking about, you're looking for a break and take of that level. And like I just mentioned, keep your eye on the volume. The breakout should be accompanied by a significant increase in trading volume. This confirms the strong buying pressure behind the price move. And here it basically is. You have the initial move up on the bull flag with above average volume. Then you have the consolidation range or the pennant or the flag part of the pattern take place, and that takes place on lower volume. Then the break of the upper trend line should come on above average volume. I mean, it doesn't actually have to be more volume than the initial move up. What it just should be is higher volume than what took place during the consolidation phase. So that's what you're looking for there on the break of the upper trend line. You needn't compare it to the initial amounts of volume. You need only compare it to the middle area of the low of the consolidation phase. All right? And here is beyond the basics. So while breakouts are exciting, remember these crucial points. Fakeouts are a real thing, guys. You need to really actually be careful with these. Sometimes price might tease a breakout, then pull back. Be cautious and use confirmation techniques like waiting for a bullish candlestick pattern after the breakout, for example. And also make sure you're employing stop loss orders. Always set stop limits to limit potential losses. In the case of a bull flag, what you're doing is if you're going to get long on the break of the upper trend line, you should be putting your stop in the low end of the bottom of the end of the consolidation. Now, if that's a big difference between where you get long and where you have to place your stop, you need to lower your share size so that it fits within your risk parameters, okay? So there's no point putting it in the actual consolidation area because your trade is not wrong so long as you're still consolidating. Your trade is wrong if you make a newer low, if you continue to make those newer lows. Keep that in mind. Risk management also super important here. Breakout buys involve some risk. Only allocate a portion of your capital to such trades and stick to your trading plan. Remember, I just finished telling you to kind of limit your position size if the stop and your entry are far apart from one another. And profit taking. Make sure to take note of the length of the flagpole when planning your bull flag breakout trade. The flagpole length can sometimes hint at the length or the potential profit of the ensuing breakout and give you a sense of where to set your profit target. So here's what I mean by that. So basically what you're doing, you're measuring from the breakout area here to the actual top of the move here. And so you're going to take note of what value that is from here to here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take that value and you're going to project it from here onwards. And that will be where you should be wetting your beak on some profits. Again, that's a suggestion. It's not a hard and fast rule. It doesn't always manifest, okay? You need to really be aware of that. And bonus tip, while breakouts are often associated with long positions, which is a buy, the opposite can also be true. If the price breaks decisively below the lower trend line of the bull flag with increased volume, it might signal a potential downtrend, and you can consider a short position selling using similar tactics here. I'm long Tesla, so I gotta manage this trade.
Yeah, I mean, I'll look at Tesla here.
Holy, I got long Tesla a long time ago, man. There's gotta be a way for me able to see my blotter a little bit better than this. This is not good, man. I need to be able to risk, this nothing to do with you, obviously. I'm complaining myself, but I could have been in a lot of trouble here on this trade. Anyway, go ahead.
Congrats to you, though. You are like 20
yeah.
pennies in the money, and
Yeah,
there
yeah.
are beak wetters. And Neil is there also.
And
Hi,
Pitt.
Neil, and hi, Patrick. Hi, everybody. Always happy to be here. Solo Cristo saying, asking me to talk to the Cybertruck because he wants to move to the upside.
Neil?
So Neil, of course, Sharif, of course, also wants to move to the upside. But I think for me, this is another example. We were talking about this, I think Sharif and I off camera, about how we have these bamboozling candles where we'll have a candle that might look bearish, for example, this topping tail candle at 1225, and then we continue to move to the upside here. So we rest a little bit. We have a candle that could be a little bit deceiving. Then we pamp it to the upside. So yeah, Solo Cristo, it looks like you don't need me to talk to Tesla anymore. Tesla moved on her own. So still thought I'd pull that one up for you. Shout out to you. Sounds like you like our pal Sharif, our long over here on the TSLA. You are like 35 pennies in the money here.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you for having a nice conversation with Tesla. I do appreciate that, Adara.
It goes a little late.
You obviously have way more pull with Elon than I do. We'll see what Tesla gets here, guys. I mean, the whole point was to take a dip trade off that key area of previous resistance, current support, 142. How long did we do the dance with no pants at that 142 level? And that's what precipitated me to put a dip trade here. Alas, I was dropping hot lines on the lesson. I did not know that I was in the position. That's my problem, not yours. But anyway, so we'll see what we get here on TSLA. I did notice that we did a fake out breakout. Okay, so I'm gonna get out of this position. A fake out breakout here on the future. Wow, that is ugly. So this is why it's a little bit hard to trade and do the lesson at the same time. Look at that topping tail candle. That is gorgeous if you're a futures trader, especially if the fact that the red candle came in after that and made a new 5-minute candle to make a new low, and down we go again on the future. Not surprised here, to be quite honest with you, that we did get that rejection at pivots, and it was a 17.3 rejection, quite frankly. Look how high we made it up. We made it up into 17.296 or thereabouts, so 4 points off that 100-point level, and down goes the entire market there. But I gotta tell you, I mean, I figured Apple, after this topping tail candle, would be the dead one, and we would continue to sell off on the day, but Apple's the rangy one today. At least it has been for the better part of an hour, ever since we reclaimed the volume weighted average price at 165.5. It has been, for the most part, a 20-penny range trade on Apple. 165.70 to the top, 165.50 to the bottom. Save and except for this 1 5-minute candle over here at 12.15, that range has been in play. So I'm not exactly sure, you know, I don't want to, yeah, maybe we'll play this range trade, Adara. I mean, like, it's the fact of the matter is it's been ranging for the better part of an hour now. So 165.50 to the low side, 165.70 to the high side. Look where I got out on Tesla before it absolutely tanked. Oh my goodness, yeah, so that's when we noticed the topping tail candle on the future too. But anyway, TSLA down below 142 yet again. I'm going to be looking here to range trade the dead one, aka AAPL.
Yeah, take that range trade for me because that's not something I'm comfortable taking in my current state. By that I mean trading live, but please, like, I'll live vicariously through your range trade.
Okay.
If you don't mind too much, I will be like, you know, the toddlers and tiara moms living vicariously through the toddlers and tiaras kids. That will be me with Sherry's range trade. I'll be like, woohoo!
I'm down with it.
Like, you show those
You're
judges.
hilarious, bro. I love the analogy too. Like, how'd you even get that one?
I don't even know.
Were you at the mall on the weekend or something? Did you see some?
I wasn't even at the mall
Okay.
this weekend. That would have been great. I wish I had one of
That's
those
funny.
stories, but I don't. But no, speaking of range, I am so sad I missed this dip buy opportunity on the Qs. You might be thinking dip buy, but it would have been a range play up into that 505, 5005. I keep saying 505. And I would have gotten it. I just wasn't aggressive enough with the timing. So as much as I talk about the market moving with a viciousness, I also be having to be moving with that viciousness. Now you might be thinking, why was that an area I liked? I've been yapping about it all day, but I'll do it one more time. That 50.05 trough earlier, then we came up. Initially, it was support, then we kind of failed a little bit, tried to short it, didn't work out. Now, though, I like that we bounce off this little top, area we had earlier as a top, that 49.90, then we reject. So I want to be taking, I think I want to be taking the short around 50.05s, or I think 50.04s. We're not going to be too optimistic. And then we're going to be aiming for that 90 area. We're going to be taking like 15 pennies. This will be a range for me. I like range trades. If they present, I would, of course, love to tangle with them. Also, if we break kind of above here up to that 50-10 area, that's where I'm going to have to be getting out. I see a fist pump, so someone is pleased as punch in that Apple trade. I see why you are. We had that nice little pop up there on AAPL. So
This range trade just called me. It's like, yo, tell Adara I'm pissed at her. Yeah. It's like, yo, bro, here I am an Adara, calling myself an Adara penetrator. I have no idea where I'm going with that. Sorry. All right, so I'll just cancel that. Yeah, we took a couple of pennies there, 10 cents on the range trade, but the whole range trade is 20 pennies. Let's be real about it. I just finished saying 165 to the low side, 170 to the high side here on AAPL. We'll see what we get there, but yeah, interesting look today for Apple. Definitely not what I expected from this name, especially after that big move down on the future. So let's continue to watch that and see what else we can get here out of these names. Now, I kept mentioning Google as a very strong name on the day. It's second only to NVIDIA in terms of percentage gainer. So we'll take, sorry, 1 second here. In terms of percentage gainer on the day, let's look at GOOGL, 156.48. And we moved up into 156.46. And then we kind of made our way all the way back down to 156. But we defend the whole dollar level quite well. Not bad. We hold up above the 10 period, right? So there's a lot of check marks beside Google's name today, especially if the market breaks 17.3. You kind of feel that this 156.50 high on Google is not going to stay intact. And in fact, we'll break it. But that's all predicated on the market continuing to run. So we'll have to watch that. Now, I feel like these Mag 7 names are all range bound, just like the Apple trade is kind of a little bit. So maybe we'll look at some small cap gappers, see what's moving on. So we had that trade on Agba earlier. It's now down again into that 2.25. Look, I like Agba at 2 1/5. And the reason I like Agba here is because this is the flat top that we had. The flat top was around 218. You could say 218, 220, that general area. What I look for is support or former resistance to flip to support. But you already saw it. So I'm kind of late to the party, actually. So this is the top. And then look where the bottom of this 3-candle range is. And you could include some of this in it, too. So they all bounce off that $2.20 area, and they give you decent pops. Like you got a 30-cent pop on a $2 name just playing that dip trade on AGBA. This is the top from earlier. You knew you had sellers there. Typically what happens is that area flips to become support once you clear it, and it did that in spades this time. Let's see if it continues to do it. Usually it's the best the first couple of times around, not like right here where the trade's been had. So keeping an eye on AGBA, definitely still in play. CAN, 1 second, let me load up this bad boy here. CAN showed up on my scanner earlier. Look, it's 14% of the good. It's nothing to write home about. It's sub $1. It just retraced into VWAP. It's putting in lower highs. So looks like a flat top, a flat bottom, excuse me, waiting to happen through around 85 pennies. If you can secure shorts on this, this could be interesting. The closing print from Friday, 75 pennies. That gives you at least maybe 10 pennies worth of profit if you get short on this. But, you know, there's no guarantees that this flat bottom. CAN up 14%, $217 million market cap. The float, 311 million shares, quite big. Here's the headline. Canaan shares are trading higher after the company executive announced their intention to purchase 2 million of the company's shares. So it looks like there's some insider buying at that company, and that's gotten the market excited. So we'll keep eyes on that. Flip back to big tech and see what's popping off. Apple's still within the range. Nothing for me to report. What's good on your side, Adara?
Yeah, I mean, that Apple trade, I'm pleased as punch you did take that range. I was able to live vicariously through it. But yeah, a Dara Panera type trade, I suppose. Also, these TQs, we're getting spicy. I'm so happy I stayed in this because my finger was near the trigger as we got to that 50-12. That was going to be my area of my stop, because that was that kind of previous top, right? So if we make a higher high, I have no reason to stay in the short, but we didn't. However, this is what I was kind of worried about, that, you know, this could continue to flip from support to resistance all willy-nilly. We're kind of seeing that. I don't have that big move to the downside with the viciousness that I was hoping for. But that's okay. This is a bit more of like a kind of smaller, shorter term trade, but I'm really, again, just trying to practice getting into the whole mindset of seeing a setup I like and going for it. A scared trader is an efficient trader, as Sean will say, and I think that's something that I'm really trying to take to heart, because it can be really easy, I think, especially I've noticed going live, to trade with your P&L, but you don't want to do that because it's like if you see a setup you like, why aren't you getting involved? So I do like the setup. Let's see if it comes to fruition the way that I would like it to. John, shout out to Jay Lee. Yeah, I decided, I guess I want to switch to the TQs because it was getting a little bit confusing for me to be like, oh, I'm long the SQs when I was short. And then everyone had kind of said to me on the floor, like, Adara, you could just short the TQs and it would be easier for everyone involved, including yourself. So I did short the TQs. So I just want to clarify the history there. So shout out to everybody for that. Also, there was... Yeah, John Swart became a member. I thought there was something else I saw there, but yeah, so just in this trade right now. Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to say. I forgot to mention this, but I had this little this NVDL trade earlier. I was really proud of this long. Got involved at this pop, and then this is when we had to scalpulate out. I was gonna give this to probably about like 85s max, because that was that previous pop. More realistically 70s. We rejected off 60s. I said, Adara, take your 20 pennies and get out of Dodge. So I did. So that was just kind of an NVDL scalp. I don't have any levels on NVDL right now. Mainly just watching my TQs, letting them broil and hopefully pop to the downside.
I like it.
Thank you.
I just want to mention one thing, that because someone was talking about crypto. Guys, Mara is absolute hot garbage on the day, right? I don't mean to disrespect anybody who's in it, but the fact of the matter is Riot Blockchain is up 15.25%. CleanSpark is up 6 1/3. Hut 8 is up 11. Mara is down 0.5%. So it's completely moving secularly here in terms of miners. Mara, big, tough look for it. I mean, you just can't catch a break, down 30% on the year. So in case you're trading these mining names, be careful. Mara seems to be counter trend from the current move. What's going on there, Katina Man? Short Mara? Oh, the Katina Man is long Mara 1580, but that's like 60 pennies ago. It's printing at 1641. So a bit of a difference. He gave the trade out 60 pennies ago. Yeah, obviously you gave it up. Yeah. So shout out to the Katina Man, which takes me to my next little segue there. If you follow Neil's trades, if you follow Sean's trades from the morning show, you have to know about this other channel that we have. It goes by the name of More Trader TV, and Adara takes care of a lot of that too, because a lot of the information there is put by her every morning. I'm talking about top stocks. I'm talking about economic calendar, as well as the news ticker there at the bottom. Have that running while you watch us all day. You'll be able to see what Neil is trading at all times, what Sean is trading at all times, and their various entries and exits there, which we are trying to make sure is accurate. From the last little bit, I think we've been pretty good there. Now, Magic Mike, shout out to you, man. I am long NQ 17255. How do you see the current market? Do you see something significant on the tape? So the tape, not that important for the future. The future is more level related. That's just my understanding. Now here, let's have a look at the NQ. So you're long 17255. All right, so you're like 1 point out of the money at the moment. So we're kind of at the volume weighted average price, right? And this is the level that Dan the Man Emmons was looking at, and I had to agree with him. That's where we troughed out there in the pre at around 830, and that's kind of where volume weighted average price is as well. So it added confluence to that level. But I got to tell you that just because we're at this level doesn't mean we're going to hold or drop below it. One thing I've been noticing a lot lately is once we get to a level the future likes, it seems to consolidate a little bit at it for a while until the more liquid time of the day comes in. I'm talking about like that 3 o'clock, 2:30 time slot or thereabouts, we start getting movements like you saw on Friday. So I don't know, Mike, to be quite honest with you, especially because we're at this key level, this 17.25 level, which I was looking at earlier for a level of support before we broke it, and now I'm looking at it as a level of resistance. Hard to tell today. I got to tell you the truth. So we also had a 17.3 rejection. Don't forget about that. But we are trading above VWAP. So there's many different conflicting looks here on the future. Sorry I couldn't been more assistance, but it's, you know, you're not going to have a good read every day. Now, here we go. Apple right back into that range that we talked about, 165.70. 165.50 has been a 20 penny range on AAPL since 11:35. It is 12:46, so we're going on an hour and 10 minutes of this range, rinsing and repeating. We haven't had a closing print above 165.70 or a closing print below 165.50. So we've had wicks below and above those levels, but the closing prints have been ensconced within that 20 penny range for the better part of an hour, and it doesn't look like it's going to change here as Apple rejects again off 165.70. And this is what I mean about, you know, the fact that we could stay consolidated. We don't have to trend. There's no requirement to trend. And that's one thing that I've been trying to get myself to see a little bit better is that, you know, when you're a trend following trader, you have this bias for looking for trends, even though some may not exist. So keeping my eye on some of these looks over here at Dara, and we'll see what we get.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like just kind of being cognizant of your own biases. I appreciate that.
For sure.
One thing too I want to talk about with regards to this TQs trade. So I got out, and one conversation I've had with you, I've had on the show, I've had with Sean and Neil, I believe as well, is that you kind of have to take the trade that you feel comfortable with it, right? And if you don't have confidence in the trade, why are you taking it? That's why I love Sean's sticky notes. Those are all levels he likes. There's levels he feels comfortable with, and those are the levels he's sticking with, and pun was intended there. But yeah, so basically, I like the short initially because we did have this kind of bounce up here from that 49.90. Then we were a little bit more, like we kind of had the stagnation, and I thought, hey, this could be short. But then I started losing confidence in it. I was like, Dara, if you don't like this, why are you still in it? You liked it initially. It's not giving what you want to give it. And this looks like it could turn. So I got out, and I'm really happy I got out where I did because right when I get out, it decides to move back to the upside. So I was going to give it to about 50.12. I got out at 50.11. So still adhered mostly to my risk reward, but I want to clarify, and I just wanted to give this lesson because I think you have to make sure you're comfortable in the trades. You have a reason for getting in the trade. And in my case, I had my reason, but I just wasn't feeling it in me to stay anymore, so I had to sit TQQ down, have a breakup, and then happy I decided to end that relationship where it was because it ended up being a good decision. It was based on what I was seeing was just I was losing confidence. I didn't like that we were kind of coiling up and using this VWAP as support. So I hope that makes sense. I just wanted to give that little spiel. I know I'm a very new trader, so of course take that what you will, but I think it is a lesson about confidence and instincts. And if you don't like something, don't feel afraid to change your plan if you need to, right? Like I call it scalpulation. If you see something change, sometimes you have to get out. However, completely unrelated, NVDL, you're kind of rangy and I like it all. So we have this base. I don't like what I just did there, but I really like this range. This 30, 35 to about 30, 45. So this is like 10 pennies. This is not significant. It is a slightly negligible in terms of size, but I do think this is a nice little range, and if it holds up, I do want to get involved. And it's also moving sort of in tandem with the Qs, but also in its own little way. So the Qs have this nice big swoop to the upside here on this 5-minute candle. NVDL is kind of like, I'm here. We're hanging out. Good times. Also, shout out to Ahmed Anwala. Thank you so much for the AED $17.99 super chat. After FRI, or Friday, what am I saying? Hit long QQQ. So far, all good. Good luck, all.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, congrats to you in that long Q. Like, I think if you got this at the bottom here, at that bottoming tail candle, getting that wick down to 414, you're $2 plus in the money. So shout out to you there, Ahmed. Thank you very much for the super chat. One thing I quickly, shout out to Darwin for being green long-term and trading, but one thing I want to quickly look at as well,
nice,
a lot of people mentioning NEO, and I forgot to give NEO some love. So let's see what's new with NEO.
And the ADRs are quite strong.
Yeah, oh.
Yeah, the ADR, like PDD is up like almost 6%, more than 6%.
That's a nice look. Yeah, this
Yeah,
NEO,
guys,
this is a classic stutter step to the upside here, bouncing off that 90 MA, which is a level that I do like. It'll be interesting to see if we kind of break above this 397, because we're certainly building here. I think it'd be nice if this one broke above with the viciousness, but of course we're gonna have to wait and see what it would like to give us. But I wanted to give a shout out to all the NEO people.
Yeah, and thank you. Great segue there, Dara, with NEO ADR. PDD is a rocket ship right now. It broke 121. Guys, we opened up at $113 today on Pinduo Duo. I don't even think they're using that Pinduo Duo moniker anymore. I think they're officially just PDD now. I'm not 100% sure. But look at this. Big move up. And then when you wanted to get a dip trade, it gave you the dip trade. It yelled, hey, I'm VWAP. Buy me here. And this 117.50 area was absolute money for whoever had the courage to buy that. And now we are really hugging the upper Bollinger Band line. You can see that we're breaking through it. And on volume, look at the volume candle. Support the move into that level. We talked about Bollingers last week, and we said, keep your eye on the volume when you are close to the upper or the lower band. Typically, that will mean something. And there it is. We are touching it right now. And so what I want to see, are we making higher highs on the RSI? Because we're making higher highs on the price action. Remember we talked about this? RSI price confluence or RSI price divergence. Right now, we are seeing a bit of a divergence come in. We had almost a 100 print here on the RSI at this big top that we put in around 1010. And then the new higher high came in at that 121 1/3. Alas, we do not have a higher high on the RSI. So I want to see, are we losing steam in this ascent up? We're knocking on the door of 7%. I mean, this is not a small move here for Pinduo Duo, especially if you've traded these Chinese ADRs during the day. They have a propensity to gap up in the pre and then sell off after the bell. At least that's been, my observation of them as of late. You're not seeing that at all on this name. In fact, you're seeing it very strong during a weaker time of the day, which is this 1 o'clock, 12:30, whatever time of the day. So anyway, keeping my eye on PDD. I'm not inclined to punch long, obviously, at any of these levels. If I was to get long, it'll have to be a 120 defend or thereabouts. I do like that the initial high there at 119 2/3, 119.50. So if we do come down into that 120, 119.50 area, I'll be very interested to possibly take a defend long on that level. But it's far too extended for me to want to get long at, but very, very good looking chart. Now, some other people, Jay Lee, just before I go on to the others, Jay Lee says, in my humble opinion, this point is a short PDD. You're not wrong, Jay. I'm not trying to tell you you're wrong at all. I just need to see a bit more technicals for me to feel comfortable getting long. I don't want to try to guess where the top is. I need to see some topping tail candles, a move down below the oversold territory, something like that. It's got to give me something. But we'll wait and see what PDD is doing. Now, Pretty Panda also brought to my attention that weed is starting to go here. The marijuana names getting off the schneid a little bit, and it goes by the name of CGC Ram. And this bad boy is up actually on the day, despite the fact that most of the weed names are in negatory land. And where is positive land here for CGC? It's at $7.93, a bit of a curl up. and the reclaiming of the volume weighted average price, the breaking of the whole dollar. So keep your eye on CGC. Weed had a good week last week, but I don't see any headlines right now to warrant any interest in or renewed interest in the marijuana names. Obviously, we do know it is an election year. Marijuana can pop off any times. We haven't had any scheduled debates yet between any of the individuals running. We haven't even had vice presidential candidates be selected yet. But we recall last time what happened when Kamala Harris debated Mike Pence. Weed absolutely pumped the next day after she mentioned it in the debate. So entirely possible something along those lines can happen this time again. So keeping an eye on weed. What else we got? My God, that range on Apple is still in. But I think we are incrementally moving up here because we just got a closing print on AAPL at 165.72. So, you know, we're not breaking it by any great distance. I'm talking about that range on Apple that we had from 165.50 to 165.70, the better part of an hour and a quarter. But we may be coming out of that. We'll keep an eye on that Adara.
Yeah, so I had this little baby NVDL trade. I thought we were breaking down a little bit here. I like that 40s area. I took it short. Risk about 10 pennies, got out. If we come back here, I'll go long. I'm still up on the day, still positive on NVDL. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. And again, just really trying not to trade on PNL, which is I find to be a little bit difficult. But if you see a trade you like, you want to take it. And I did think we kind of had that little curl to the downside. We had that chop and turn, so I liked it initially. Didn't work out. That's okay. That's over. We're all good. Next trade. Also, let me look back at these Qs here. Let's see what these are doing. Yeah, so this is not much for me here right now in the TQs, other than these kind of lower highs. NVDA about to go, says CG. So yeah, very happy I got it at NVDL where I did, if that is in fact the case. If we bounce off that 9 EMA though, I want all the smoke. I'm getting back in and along around basically where I went short at 40s. I like that long earlier. I did take that long at 40s earlier. I do like this 40s level. It was previous resistance, which then turned to support, which is then turned to kind of a range. So I have no qualms. Looks like NVDL is breaking to the upside here. So whew, nice little look. And yeah, go long in my opinion, says Jay Lee on NVIDIA. Yeah, I mean, I think I might have missed the opportunity to do so now. But yeah, if I see a dip buy opportunity here, I'm very much interested, so we're going to have to wait and see. I was more interested when it was kind of looking rangier. Now it looks like we're kind of having a breakout, so that's a little bit less my cup of tea. IBIT, though, IBIT's been really interesting, and I didn't get involved right away because I like this bearish candle. Trying to get involved, too. Then we have this, I like this bullish kind of candle here, this bottoming tail candle. Then we get a topping tail candle. Then we kind of continue to have this move to the upside. So I'm going to set an order here for 70s because I do think if we bounce off that, that would be a nice little look indeed. And I think we do have some support here at this area. These candles have given me the support I need to make sure that I'm comfortable taking this trade. I'm going to get out here around, we'll give this like 7 pennies. We'll give this to this bottom area because to me, this was such a strong area of support. If we break below that, I want no part of this trade. I want no scrubs. So we're going to have, that's my look right now for IBIT. Right now, Qs and NVIDIA trying to make a higher high here. What are other people looking at? Check out gold. It's tanking, says Surya. I don't know if you mean gold, Barrett Gold or GLD, but I'll check GLD first. Because I know sometimes I'll look at GLD and people will be like, oh, I meant Barrett Gold. But I'll look at GLD. At the gold, 244. Yeah, definitely kind of stutter step to the downside here, rejecting off that 9 EMA, lower highs, lower lows. Let's take a look at gold, as in Barrett Gold now. GOLD on the NYSE and see what how that one's shaking out. Yeah, so this is a nice actually little look coming into previous support and failing previous support. It's a nice little short that gives you, if it was more than 10 pennies, I think it'd be a nicer range, but kind of breaking to the downside a little bit up here. Also, I'll take a look at, for Blaze Engelhardt, great name, let's take a look at Amazon and see if that trade is delivering, Express delivering a long or a short as of right now. Let's see what this is giving. Honestly, to me, this is kind of a pretty straight upward trend. We had that, I was talking earlier about this really bamboozling little level we had here with these very bearish looking candles. Then we continue to move to the upside. And look, I was talking earlier about this. I'm really proud of myself. The 75.20, I said this could be an area. Look at these candles earlier and look where we form a support.
Bang.
175.20. So sometimes you just want to give yourself a little bit of a pat in the back for noticing stuff, you know, so shout out. This doesn't always happen when levels you call out work out, so or at least not for me. I am not Sean. I am not the sticky note. I'm not the king of sticky note nation over there, so I'm not always the best at levels, but I did like these candles, and it's always interesting when this stuff does come into fruition there, resistance and support.
You did really well. Yeah, fantastic. You know, we have a couple of traders napping a little bit there, Adara, and maybe, hello, Joshua. Hey, Joshua, wave to the people. Don't. Sorry, bro. You just can't nap around here and not me, you know, to sit and throw you on. So shout out to Josh. All right, Apple's doing things here, Adara, and I'm not sure what is going on with AAPL, but it's on its way into 166, breaking that clear consolidation Adara Panera range that it had earlier between 165.70 and 165.50. And here we go. I think we just got a 90 print on that last little move up. Where do we find the top? Well, obviously, we have the 166 level. That is the whole dollar level there that we should be cognizant of. There was also this topping tail candle here for whatever reason came in at a quarter after noon and topped out right where we are now, 165.88 exactly, I believe. That was the print, 87, excuse me, was the print there. So I am cognizant of that level. Not sure exactly what to make of this move midday, but Apple putting in higher highs and higher lows right now. There's no question about that as it tries to defend that key area of daily resistance, $165. That takes us well back into the fall of last year, the last time we actually printed that level. That is, of course, until this past Friday. So I'm not sure why my earpiece is dying, guys. I connected it a couple times, so if you need me, just holler, because I probably won't be able to hear you. But anyway, we'll keep eyes on Apple because it is trending right now. While Softies consolidative, Meta consolidative, Amazon, you guessed it, consolidative as well. So is Google and Tesla at these levels, and NVIDIA no different. They're all kind of sideways while Apple put in a few green candles to the north side there, but definitely finding resistance at that 165.88 that we just talked about. So we'll keep eyes on that. Let's flip to some small cap gappers and see what is popping off. If anything, AGBA looks fantastic. It has continued to look good all day. We wet our beak there for some profits on this one earlier, but this one is a rinse and repeat. So I talked to you about this earlier area of resistance initially at 220 and then flipped to support. And I said maybe fourth time, fifth time wasn't a charm. Well, no, they were. Okay, so this $2.20 area, despite the fact that we held up here initially from 12.05 to 12.20, we defended that level. We came back yet again at 12.45 and defended that level again. So that 12.20 is coming to play on AGBA. It's a cool 91.1% now in the good. And we could see $3 by the end of the day. AGBA is a former runner, guys. It does have these outsized days. Look at going back. You can just see that. So you know it's in its history. It's in its DNA to do what it's doing. In addition to that, it's been running now for 3 days in a row. Each day has been over 100 million shares of volume. Sure, it started off as 40 pennies, but it's well over $1 and has been now for a couple of trading days. So AGBA, keep your eye out on that if you are a small cap momentum trader. But equally, keep your eye on it if you are a small cap trader, but to the other side. So there used to be another trader on this floor. I'm pretty sure he's not gone. He's probably on a hiatus. He loved shorting these small cap gappers. As soon as one was running, he'd be in the short chat. I want 1,000 shares of this one short. And he did it really, really well. So it's not the only way to trade these to the long side. If you can get shorts, if you can get your hands on shorts, it could be a good trade, maybe day 4, day 5, once it's run out of steam. Okay, Adara, I'm going to have to digress from small caps and talk about the future, because here comes 17.3 again. So the last time we were up here was 12.15. We came into 17.296. Here we go again, breaking above pivots and knocking on the door of 17.3. Does the futures open this time? We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I have to say I'm very proud of myself getting out of this short here. I risked like 6 pennies. We were giving this, I got it in 24s on the TQQs. We were risking the 31s. Why I got in? This is a clear area of resistance earlier. Initially, we do get in the short, and it does give us the move to the downside. I was watching here. I was waiting. I liked the idea. I had the risk management required, and I got out. So I just wanted to address that brief little trade. Right now, though, this looks like we might get filled in this NVDL. This is just going to be purely scalping, kind of breaking to the upside here. If we break below that 40s area, which was a clear trough, we're going to have to get out here. But I'm trying to take this a little bit to the upside on this NVDL. We're going to have to see if this is an NVDL or NVDW. We just got filled in NVDL. So nice look here. We're going to have to see. I don't love this little bearish candle that I entered in, I have to say. But I do like that we kind of have this rangy vibe here with NVDL, and that's the type of trade I'm comfortable with. Also, yes, so I'm slightly red on the day now, thanks to the TQQs. But it's okay. I think we had did I have one positive? I had a couple positive trades in the TQQs. Yeah, there we go. So we did have some nice trades, just wasn't always perfect. But I have to say, I'm proud of my risk management with every one of these trades. Like we didn't lose more than 10 pennies, I think, maybe except for that one last trade there. But it's just really, I think, trying to get a better sense of that nice little, you want that nice little marriage between trusting your instincts and then also having levels you like and being comfortable getting involved when you like something, right? You have to be willing to get involved in the trade. You have to, or some people say lose money to make money. And Sean will also, talk about a scared trader is a deficient trader. So I am trying to be more confident, but also having those levels to back it up. So that was kind of what the trading was today, even though I am now positive with this NVDL, so we'll have to see how this works out. But the point I'm trying to make is I think I'd rather risk a little bit and have levels I'm confident with and be proud of myself for exiting the trades. So hopefully that made sense. That was a little bit roundabout, but we took our 12 pennies on NVDL, pleased as punch, just took that off that 9 EMA, which is, again, a level I really like, so good times. If it keeps ranging, I will continue to be interested, but right now it is 106. So I guess I could move into...
I just want to show quickly C
do.
Limited, and then we'll jump into the lesson. Guys, C Limited, it's been a good-looking day, 8 1/3% on the name. Well, it got, so if you're wondering why it's up 8 1/3%, Morgan Stanley giving C Limited the nod with an overweight rating and a PT of $70, which implies a nice little upside from where we're currently trading, which is at $59.58. The reason I'm pointing it out now, even though it's off its highs, 61.80 HOD, we're printing 59.58, is we came into the volume weighted average price earlier, and by earlier I'm talking 12.10, 12.15, and it was a rejection at VWAP, not by a lot. We put in a higher low. We're right back at the volume weighted average price. This could be an interesting rejection or a range trade of sorts if we start using VWAP as the level of resistance that it's been acting as, and possibly that $59 area or thereabouts as a level of support. Keep your eye on C Limited. It's presenting opportunities. The volume is decent too. It's not exorbitant amounts of volume, but the volume is there to support the move up on the day. So I just want to mention that for anybody who's interested. This one getting the nod from Morgan Stanley. And as I talk about the nod, let me tell you about this nod. 166 came and went for AAPL. It is now up 2/3%, but that 17.3 on the what's it called, the NQ June contract, not breaking quite yet. We're there. We're at 17.299, 298. It's just a matter of whether we break and take this 300-point level. I looked over to the Katina man. And he's like, look, dude, I'm feeling short. The only long I have right now is MARA, and I gotta agree. I mean, like with the whole move down, I mean, you don't have to be a charter market technician to look at this. This is a 15-minute look, and it's been down and to the right every single day. Why would I change my tune now? We'll keep an eye and see what is made of this level that we're currently at, 17.3. You guys know I care about these 100-point levels on the future.
Yeah, indeed. And I think, yeah, that's a really interesting area. Mara also, this dance that Mara is doing with this VWAP is really interesting, just breaking above it here. So shout out to Sean with that MARA trade, definitely doing that marathon to the upside. Looks like it's going to cross the finish line with VWAP over here. So nice look there. I've been, for my part of Bitcoin, I've been looking at IBIT. So I like this rejection of 37.80. The one thing that I don't like is higher lows and a flat top. I do not want to get short that. I have no intention of standing in front of that giant Bitcoin train. Choo, choo, choo. The headlights in front. I'm standing there like a deer in the headlights. That's like a horror movie. We don't want that happening, especially as we head into the lesson of the day. But I bet you're staying on my mind. And if I see a level I like, I have to say I'm a lot more confident, though, in the long. And I'm very upset I didn't punch into that with more aggression earlier. But that's okay. And that's why I don't want to go short, because it would feel a little bit too revenge trade for me. And I like my trades more avengeful than revengeful. So, just pulling up the lesson and not the PowerPoint. Good times. It's a Monday. Let's get the PowerPoint ready for our lesson du jour, which is going to be riding the bull flag and these bull flag breakouts. Day 1 of 5. I was going to say many, but it will be 5 because it is a week. So let's talk about bull flags, because breakout buys can be a really popular strategy in general for capitalizing on stocks experiencing an uptrend, right? So this lesson will get a little bit more into the concept of using the bull flag pattern, which can signal price continuation. So what's a breakout buy? You've got a bull charging, it's running to the upside. There's all this energy, all this steam, you have all these green candles. That is the energy, the essence of a breakout buy. So you really want to enter this long position and buy into the trade as the price breaks decisively above a resistance level, because you say, hey, if we broke above this level, what other levels can we break? So you see that vigor, you want to get involved with the swiftness, the viciousness, and you want all the smoke. But how do you find the signal you're looking for? So the bull flag is going to be a technical chart pattern resembling a flag waving in the wind, so it'll form after a price increase, followed by a period of consolidation where the price will fluctuate within a specific range. And this consolidation creates a flag-like shape on the chart. So as you can see here, we have the flag pull. Yeah, I also, like you were saying, I don't really agree with where they started measuring this flag pull from. I'd probably do it like 550. Then you get up to about 7, and then you have this chop and churn. Now, we're going to talk about this in later in a couple slides down, but you can actually use this flag pull measurement to look at the potential breakout. So if I see, hey, from 550 to 70, or sorry, 550 to $7, that gives you $1.50. That means you could potentially try to look for a 150. You try to look to get $1.50 out of the trade, words. But yeah, so that's kind of one example here. Your flag pull, your flag, and then your look to break above it. So this is what the bull flag is going to tell you. You have your upward trend, so the initial price will suggest your underlying bullish sentiment. Then you'll have your consolidation, so the sideways movement, which will indicate a temporary pause before the potential consolidation. And last but not least, your breakout. So you particularly would like a breakout with increased trading volume. You're going to see that price decisively break above the upper trend line with your viciousness or swiftness or what have you of the flag, signaling a potential resumption, I love that word, of the uptrend. But when do you jump in? When do you add? When do you hop on and ride the bull flag to the upside? So there's a couple things you want to look at. Price action can be really key. You want to see a clear break above the upper trend line of the bull flag, because that will signal a potential break in resistance. Also, a volume surge would be ideal as well. So as we were just saying, so everything's going to be a little bit stronger for that volume behind it. In general, you want confluence with multiple indicators, but if you do have volume behind your breakout, that's going to be a nice sign. It's not a fake out breakout. We'll discuss those dangerous little guys in a minute. But so if you have your volume surge, that can signify strong buying pressure behind the move. And so here's one example. This is a little bit too specific, but basically what you have is you have your move to the downside, then your breakout with very strong volume showing, hey, this trend is here to stay, and that rhymed, which I was not planning on. Also, let's get beyond the basics into some more specific areas here.
Bang.
So fake outs, we were just talking about these. We talk about these a lot because they're really prevalent in a lot of the market. But that's when you have a price that's teasing a breakout, like, oh, hey, I'm over here, come join. And then it falls back. So you want to be really cautious of these fake out breakouts and use confirmation techniques. Maybe you want to wait for a bullish candlestick pattern after the breakout. Maybe you want to see, again, some volume after the breakout. You want to make sure that this is not a fake out and that you have some impetus to enter the trade beyond the breakout.
Oh, I meant to hit the bag.
I like that. For a second, I was like, oh, dollar club apple.
Yeah, I know. Can you imagine?
That'd be amazing. But the apple's a dead one, so that might take a while.
I know.
Also, stop loss orders, right? So you want to set a stop loss to limit potential losses in case the price movement goes against what you're expecting. Risk management, always really key here. It goes hand in hand, in tandem with stop loss orders. Breakout buys do involve some risk, so you want to not allocate too much of your position or your capital, to taking these kinds of trades. Make sure you stick to your trading plan and don't take breakout trades you're not comfortable with. Profit taking, also really key in planning your profit. We talked about the flagpole earlier, so the length of the flagpole can, at times, of course, not always, give you a sense or an indication of how much profit potential you could have from this trade. or from the ensuing breakout. So that could give you a sense of where to set profit targets. So maybe you think, hey, for that one example of the flagpole going from 550 to 7, you might not want to like give yourself a whole $1.50, but you might start piecing out and save a piece for the dream for that $1.50 winner, right? So you can join that $1.50 club. So that's just one example of using the flagpole to guide, not necessarily rule, but guide your profit taking. There you go. And some bonus tips as well. Well, breakouts are usually associated with long positions. You can also talk about breakdowns. If you have a bear flag or a break below support, because that could be a bit of a bearish signal and that could be an opportunity to get involved in a short. But always, of course, we always say this every lesson, remember risk. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Don't chase. See movements you like and try to get involved in waterfalls. Stick to the patterns and the trends that you're used to. I'm going to stop there. But yeah, so make sure that you're not going outside your comfort zone. If you see a setup you like, of course, get involved, but make sure that you have your risk management in check.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for that, Adara. Succinct and awesome as always. All right. I just want to shout out Manuel Palma because UAL has been having a good little while here. United Airlines got the nod last week, and you can see that the 5-minute look here is awfully strong on UAL. Since earnings, guys, they did report earnings last week, and here it is. So since the earnings day, the earnings low there, to where we're currently trading at, we're up 24% on UAL since earnings. I mean, look, we always joke around here, how does a billionaire become a millionaire? How does a billionaire become a millionaire? I know you're going, but I want to.
What? I don't know.
How does a billionaire become a millionaire?
A B.
No, what? It's too easy. You invest in an airline.
Oh,
right?
I see.
It's just an unmitigated disaster. Well, lately, anyway, they've been. You can go.
Okay,
I know you had your thing to do.
Sure.
Sorry to hold you up.
No, I didn't hear that joke.
All good. Yeah, so this has been, a really good look here for UAL for the last few days, even Friday. I mean, when everything else was tanking, UAL had a nice move up. So that continues today, 53 2/3 HOD on UAL at the moment. Kind of, I don't want to say losing steam, but it's definitely not touching the upper Bollinger Band in the way that it was all morning. Right? So you can kind of glean from that what you can. Also, keep your eye on the RSI as well. If that one starts pointing down, it could be interesting. Right now, the RSI is still pointing higher and printing higher highs. So no RSI price divergence right now on UAL. Thank you, Manuel Palma, for pointing that out. I didn't have eyes on it today. In fact, I didn't look at any of the airlines. Shout out to you. That wasn't the only one that was moving here, though. I want to call out a couple of other ones. PDD, I mentioned this one earlier. It's continuing to go. So PDD has still not given up the ghost at day's high right now, 121.60. And you've got multiple closes now above the upper Bollinger Band. I mean, I don't know if this is accurate, but my observation when there is like these repeat closings above the upper Bollinger Band is that this is extra bullish, and I should be keeping my eye on this for a good entry. Now, initially what I wanted was that 120. I said to myself, okay, so that was the local area of resistance. We topped up into 120. We retraced back into 118, hold VWAP. There's going to be a time where it probably comes to test 120, at least intraday. Not yet. It's not yet at all. So we're very much near highs than we are anywhere closer to these retracement levels on PDD. Just wanted to mention that. Now, I wet my beak on some profits on AAPL. We're long 166.05 for the defend of the whole dollar level, but I got to tell you, this perfunctory break of 17.3 is not putting my mind at ease at all. We kind of moved up a little bit on that 17.3 break and take, but it's not by enough a distance to say to myself, okay, yeah, it looks like we're going to hold 17.3 here as a level of support, not by a long shot. So any move down here, I'm going to look to get out of AAPL, especially if it doesn't hold up that 166 level. Mahmoud Sharif, a billionaire became a millionaire by getting married and going through a divorce. Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. But we are not going to discuss that on this show, as it is too polarizing. But I do know exactly what you mean and who you're referring to, Mahmoud. So shout out to you. Yeah, a lot of people saying that as well. Okay, guys, come on. Let's leave that one alone. Day Trader Cut says buy UAL shares. No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. We never give buy triggers or financial advice on this show. Day Trader Cut. You've been around long enough to know that. I'm basically making an observation as to the chart on UAL today. And over the last few days, I've been showing you that it's been nice little pump up. Whether you feel it is a good investment or not is going to be entirely up to you. I don't give you advice, right? So I just wanted to point that out super quick. People saying NVIDIA 800, NVIDIA about to boom. I see you guys. I agree. NVIDIA just broke that local high that we had there, and it was a bit of a top for not obviously on the day, but for the morning, or you can say early afternoon. I'm talking about that 789 level. It wasn't even 790. It was coming to 788. That was pivot points. We had multiple rejections off pivots, and now we're coming to 790, 789 in a bit. We're definitely putting in higher lows. That's very easy to observe, but this flat top is in question at the moment. So whether or not we break above and close above this level, we'll have to wait and see. But if you're looking for that break and take, one of your profit targets could be around this 769 and a third. That is HOD on the day. Could also be targeting 800. I think that that's completely within the realm of possibility on NVIDIA. This can move 10 bucks in a heartbeat. Not saying it's going to move, but yeah, just keep your eye out on that. It looks like Apple is going to break below 166 at the moment. So if it drops 10 pennies, oh, I'm already out. So this one already got me out of that level. Happy about that, profitable on AAPL, but it does break below 166, and that's making me question whether we're going to hold up 17.3 here on the future. So yeah, watching, because we're at VWAP on a lot of names. We're at VWAP on Meta. We're at VWAP on Softy. We're at VWAP on Amazon. And yeah, we're not VWAP on anything else. Why is that important? Because if we reject 17.3 here and we're at the volume weighted average price on all these bad boys, we could look for a possible short. We know we have resistance on Meta at 482. We rejected earlier on MET at that level. But the only thing kind of giving me the other side of the coin is that these higher lows. These higher lows have been in place essentially since 11 o'clock onwards. So we'll have to wait and see. It looks like the market may hold 17.3 here. There goes 790 on NVDA. So yeah, everything looks like it's turning around here, unless its name is AAPL. Google near highs. We'll continue to watch for some of these. I don't want to weasel my way into one of these trades here if the future is going to hold on to 17.3. So good luck there, guys. We'll see what the rest of the afternoon brings.
But I guess it's kind of apt that AAPL isn't doing what its friends are doing, because we do call it the dead one for a reason. So that little bit of a shake and bake there, to use an Obiism. But yeah, I am involved. Oh, look at Randy with the glasses and the Superman shirt.
What's going on over there, Randy? What do you see? Is that a Model 2? Do you see the Model 2? Oh, okay. That's okay.
But yeah, shout out to Randy. Hello, Randy. Right now, though, I am in this Tesla short long. TSLL long. Tesla long. Right now, it's not Bessel, and it's also not a Messel. We're basically just flat, more or less. Also, we did get short IBIT, so that kicked in. Thank you, Position Board, for letting me know. See, I got involved in this because I was waiting, like I said, for that confirmation that we were going to have the turn to the downside. Now I'm looking at this, and I'm like, it looks like you got involved in something that still could flat top break. We're keeping this extremely tight risk management wise. If we break above 37.90s, I'm getting out, because to me that is the clear top. So we're going to be cautious. I like this TSLL long better though, and I like that because we have had this kind of rangy look. We know I like a range. Bottom around this 516, top here around this 523. I like this. If we break, I'm giving myself like a couple pennies on this. If we break below 517, I'm getting out. I just stab myself with my nail there, so good times. But yeah, I think this could be an interesting look for Tesla. Basically flat right now in both of my trades, and happy to be able to take them. And yeah, this has been an interesting trading day so far. I did stumble a little bit with my TQQs, but I'm still happy I was trying to trade those, and we had some positive trades in them as well, right? So, c'est la vie, potato, potato. Right now, there's NVDL trying to break to the upside. I'll show NVDA for, yeah, okay. NVIDIA is nice. Both of them, though, I want to see what we do. On NVIDIA, it's going to be that 795. To me, this is the acme, and well, it is literally the acme on the day. The highest point of the day that I'm seeing here in NVDA. We need to break above that 796 with the viciousness, and if we do, I think things can get really spicy for NVIDIA. definitely bouncing off this 9 EMA area. And I honestly, I thought at one point I was like, oh, maybe this could be a short here. We're curling down. Happy I got out when I did, because wow, this is definitely a spicy little look to the upside, whether you're looking at NVDA, NVDL, or any long NVIDIA derivative. This is a very nice look for them. I see you're also looking at the Cybertruck.
I am.
Yeah.
I am, to be honest with you, because interesting look here. I don't know if you notice this, but a range is starting to manifest itself. I know. I say range and she looks over right away. On TSLA, some local highs here at the 142.75-ish, 142.80-ish. So I'll be looking to get short, defend that level, and I'll have a stop on the other side of 143. So if it does take the whole dollar level, I'll be gonzino. So we'll see exactly what happens there on TSLA. Still negative though on the day, 3+% in negatory land. Long AAPL 165.94. We're trying to break above 166 here already. Took some profits there on the dip. Now, what caused me to get into this? A couple reasons. One, the futures continuing ahead above 17.3 and Apple retraced. And then I liked this level. Do we remember this level that came in randomly, 12.15? So using this 165, 80, 89-ish, 88-ish as a level of support. And also, it held right at the 10 period. And we've been talking about the superficial retracements come into the 10, the deeper, more, like profound, not profound, wrong word, retracements come into the 20. The deeper retracements come into that's been my observation. So Apple nicely in the money on this one. Let's see if we can make it near highs. 166.23 basically thereabouts, is the HOD on AAPL. Nicely in the money, about 15 pennies in the money on Apple right now. Let's see if we can move up closer to those highs. 17.3 looks like it's in the bag now. I don't want to say that because I'm probably going to jinx it. But the fact of the matter is we've cleared 17.3 now by some decent pointages here. And that is about 26 points. We got into 17.326 right now on this last candle. HOD takes us into that 950 time slot. I guess that's the IB high. Shout out to Dan the Man Emmons. 17.331.5 is the high of the day on the NQ. So we could be encountering resistance awfully soon, like less than 5 points soon here as we're breaking through 25s right now, because we have this high of day with which to contend. If there are sellers on the other side of that, then I guess we'll experience a momentary dip in the future, and maybe some of these Mag 7 names as well. Google is at day's high. It just printed a new high of day. Google looked to be the standout name ever since that V-shaped retracement off 154. It is now at 156.78 HOD, breaking well above this 156.50 crest, which was the implied balance high there. And we broke that with some degree of viciousness, as Adair likes to say. That wasn't before. We used it as a top. So look at all the topping tail candles that came into that general vicinity of 156.50. There were a couple of them. And then finally you got the candle that broke the downward trend to the high side there on goggles. Meta above VWAP right now. Amazon above VWAP. Softy above VWAP. Well, Tesla's been above VWAP. So the Mag 7 names now, we were talking about this earlier, they were all below the volume weighted average price. They are now all above the volume weighted average price. What we do with that information, we'll have to wait and see. We're nicely in the money, 20 pennies now on AAPL. The dead one's waking up a little bit here, Daryl.
I like that. Yeah, so it's the zombie one, the zombified one. Yeah, this TSLL is a little bit frustrating.
Pamp it.
Pamp it, indeed. I think, I don't like this lower high we had. I have no reason to leave, though, so we're going to stay in this trade for now, this TSLL. Like I said, I'm giving it 2 pennies of risk, so I'm keeping this very, very much to be at the tighter trade. Also, someone was asking, why are you trading TSLL and TSLA? And that's because I'm live now. So I'm trying to take names. I'm trying to be a little bit more cautious, and also with these, I can take slightly larger positions, or I feel more emboldened to take slightly larger positions. However, I will say I took way too small of a position on this TSLL. It's like enough that I have a little bit of wiggle room, but I really should have taken a little bit more. But that's something I can learn from, look at, and be like, hey, Adara, next time, take more. So that's all good. Always here to learn, and I feel like that's one of the best parts of trading in general is just being able to kind of learn every day. The markets are always going to give you something a little bit different, And it's kind of like, you know, Forrest Gump with that life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And I think the markets
One of my
are
favorite
much
movies,
like a
man.
box of
I
chocolate.
can watch that movie like 20 times. And
Yeah,
it still doesn't bother me. I enjoy it. And you know, it's like kind of like The Godfather. You pick up something different, like a nuance every time.
The Godfather is great for that.
Oh,
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
yeah. The Godfather is. We always use it here with the emotion thing. Shout out to Jay Lee mentioning that Nat Gas is doing things on the day. Let's have a look here at what UNG is doing. I know Jay Lee likes Boyle. He likes that triple leverage stuff. Shout out to Jay Lee there. So UNG on the day. What do we got here? Let me just load up my watch list for Nat Gas and see what's popping off. So Nat Gas. Okay, so UNG's up 1 3/4, but it's Boyle here that's doing the biggest damage. 4.5% for the triple levered ProShares Ultra Bloomberg. That's what Boyle is, I guess, hence the B. All right, let's put in the ticker for Boyle. Look, I mean, you saw the NOS boss talk about Nat Gas, and he was going to do a bit of an arb trade there in Nat Gas before he went on pat leave. But I got to tell you, I mean, I got burned for $1 a share on UNG, and you know, unless I see some sort of discernible uptrend to the upside, I'm not trying to guess bottoms on Nat Gas anymore. That's a fool's game, and you know they call it the Widowmaker for a reason, right? Doesn't just get that name willy-nilly. So look, how do you weasel into this? A possible 14 hold, Jay. There was a dip trade here at the volume-weighted average price, but other than that, you've just had to get it in on a 10-period retracement. That's the 10 EMA here is the trick, I think. If you're getting it off the green, solid line, that's been the best place for me to get, other than this VWAP dip that you could have had earlier. Otherwise, I'll steer clear of this monster. Look at Apple heading to the high side. New high of days on AAPL as the dead one decides to wake up on the day. It's coming into that pre-market top that we put in, and that's at 166.40. That took place at 8:40 a.m. on much lesser volume. We're about 3 pennies away from that right now as Apple wants to go 1% green on the day. Oh my goodness, 0.87 to the high side. The future's pamping. Apple's up, Meta's on the way up, Amazon is on the way up, Google has been on the way up, and it looks like NVIDIA may touch 800 today, or at least make its way into that local top that we had earlier. That was the IB high. $796.39 is technically the high on the day. Be careful here. Waiting maybe for 800 to come in and completely negating this previous area high. This is the IB high. 796.5 essentially, okay? So look for a break and take of that, and then maybe, you know, that 800 will be a bit more smooth, but I'm keeping my eye on this area here of resistance on NVIDIA. I know that we have okay, by the way, I just want to point this out for the newer viewers. You don't have to trade NVDA. You don't have to pony up $800 a share. There are ways to trade this other than using options, obviously. NVDL, NVDS, and NVDX, all equity derivatives of the NVDA ticker, so you can trade that as well, Adair.
Yeah, thank you for going over that. I trade the NVDL, and NVDL definitely gave you some spicy opportunities right now. Also giving you spicy opportunities is thank you everybody pointing out this Bitcoin move to the upside. Yeah, this IBIT. Whew. Thank gosh I was out of this short. I was like, initially I was like, you know what, we did have that rejection. Then I was like, Adara, this could be, we have these higher lows, this could be a flat top break. So I got out, lost a couple pennies on that, and thank gosh I only lost a couple pennies. Look at this move back up here. If we see a clear bounce at this 37.90s area, I've been eyeing 37.90s on IBIT all day. So if we bounce off that, and I don't want to see anything other than 37.90. That is my level. I think 37.93s. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But I'm not getting involved like 38s or anything. You know what I mean? I need to see a bounce that I like, and I'm not getting involved until I see that trampoline-like action off that level. Also, this TSLA, I added to this position. This was a planned add. Like I mentioned this earlier, I think as well. I wanted a few more shares. I wanted some more spice. Took out. How much of the position did I take out? It took like, I'm trying to math this out, 3/5 of the position, so I still have a cool 40%. Yes, I like to do exact math for my trades, good times. But let's see what we do here. I'm happy with where we got in on this. I like, you know, this kind of range action, and I'm okay continuing to add and subtract from this trade. I was gonna give this up 2 pennies. We touched 517 and then we bounced right back up. So I was happy with this. The grand goal for this is gonna be if we get to 520, what is this, 523s, 524s, I'd be pleased as punch. I'm not getting out of the rest of this right now. I have no reason to leave, but I did want to take some profit here. So happy with how that went. IBIT. Trying to entice me to get involved. So I might get a bit of IBIT if we get that area I want, specifically that 95-ish bounce. Qs really strong here, continuing to the upside. I've been looking at the TQQs, and I've just, my instincts on this have not been super good. However, I have been proud of my instincts to just get out of the trade when it's not going well. So I think, sometimes you have to take different lessons. Even if your lesson isn't, oh, I had this great trade, I made this profit. It's, hey, I realized I had to get out here, and I did, and I was able to minimize the damage done. So that's what I learned from these TQQs trades. Although we did have this one profitable one earlier that I was really proud of off that previous resistance, flipping to support. Previous resistance flipping to support and then taking out at that earlier resistance level. So just basically, I guess the fancy term for that is range. It was just a range that I liked. But yeah, I think really just trying to learn to make sure you're getting involved in trades you like. And if you see something you don't like, just get out, get involved. Or don't stop getting involved if that's not what you want. Also, someone mentioned Boeing earlier, so I do not remember who it was in the chat. But yeah, Boeing is going. This is a nice look here. Higher lows, higher highs. These couple little VWAP bounces and then shoop to the upside. It gets off the ground there, continuing to fly there. Not very much turbulence either on its flight to the upside, unlike, unfortunately, real Boeing planes right now. But we did have that 170.40 area. That was a little bit of a temporary break. We bounce off. I'm really sorry. I felt badly saying it. Thank you. We bounce off that 170.40 after a little bit of turbulence. We bounce off that 9 EMA, continue to the upside. We have maybe a little bit of a bearish candle forming here. As Sharif says, do not look for just one bearish candle. See what else is in store. Don't make your trades based on one candle. That being said, if we bounce off this 170.80, to me, that was a double top early. Not just to me, it was a double top earlier. So I want to see what we do here on this Boeing and see if it keeps going. It's got about 25 pennies to get to that level and then bounce to see what happens here. Yeah, there we go. That's the Boeing. Sorry for that morbid Boeing joke.
Hey, it's apt. I mean, it is morbid, obviously. I gotta tell you, man, like I'm actually worried a little bit now when I get on airplanes. I'm not gonna lie. Like I never had that issue, but now you just can't help forget the headlines. I mean, the headlines are tattooed in my mind, right? That's the way it is. All right, guys, we got aggressively here into some key levels on a lot of names. I'm talking about U400 on Softy. I'm talking about 177 on Amazon, and I'm talking about 157 on Goggles. We didn't get to 800 on NVDA. We put a bit of a topping tail doji candle there in the 795 area. But this is really interesting. I was actually going to punch short and Amazon 177. I said, Sharif, why are you getting short at this level? Is the only thing that you like the fact that it's at the whole dollar level? And then I wasn't able to see this area in the pre. And that area in the pre right there shows you that 177 was a local consolidation area top. So I could have scalped like at least 20, if not more pennies off it. What's your profit target if you're getting off at 177, you're getting in at 177? I would say set your beak wetter for 176.50 to see, number one, do we bounce off the 10-period moving average, because we've been talking about that holding up, or 176.25, because that's where the volume weighted average price is. So that's all predicated on 177 rejecting on AMZN. Yeah, 790 coming back down here on NVDA after making a new high of day of 796.39. We'll also keep eyes on Softy. This 400 level should be a lot more important to me than it is. And look the accumulation. The accumulation took place near the closing print on Softy, which was at 399 area. That's why I didn't have eyes on 400. We were rejecting off the closing print from Friday. That's the white thin line here, horizontal line. All the wicks into it earlier on in the afternoon were rejecting, and then we put in higher lows for that 400 break and take. Right now at $410, do we hold 400, or is this just going to be a perfunctory break of that level and then come right back down? Apple doesn't know that any of these ones are retracing. It continues to print higher highs on the day. AAPL High a day, 166.61 right now. It's broken all the pre-market levels, so there's nothing for us to chart as resistance from today. However, going back to the Friday print, there is the opening print on Friday, 166.75. We are 10 pennies away from that right now. We printed another high of day there on AAPL 66s. So we'll see if we get into that 166.75 and find some resistance there. But looks like Apple independently strong on the day. It looks like here, doing its own thing. We know that 165 level is a level of support on the daily, and the fact that it's on the daily gives it more credence in my book. Also, Tesla, not to be outdone here, 143 looks like a flat top breakout looking to happen. We've been ranging in between the volume weighted average price. It looks like it's been more the 50 period, so we've been having higher lows come in here on TSLA with that 143 acting as a local top. So that could be an interesting area. I would be more inclined to take a dip trade rather than take the 143 breakout trade. So maybe sit at 142.50, 142 and a quarter, look to get filled at a better cost basis, and then we'll look for a 143 take. But it looks like it's going to take 143 here as Tesla waking up a little bit. And these higher lows are quite telling, even though the flat top is still in play, the higher lows are definitely there on TSLA, Adara.
Yeah, I'm happy. I still kept, and I know this is hyper-specific, but I'm still happy I kept 40% of my TSLA trade, and I took out 60%. Happy with that. Please just punch. I am going to watch what we do at 26s, 526, because that was that area we had these wicks, 2 wicks into, then we went to the downside, right? So if we hold 26, if we break above 26 with a business, I'll stay in. If we cannot break 26, I'm getting out. So that's what's happening there. That is the story, and I am sticking to it for TSLL. So I was a skosh of a hypocrite with IBIT. I know I said I'm not getting IBIT until we get below 37. I don't know what voice I'm doing there. 37.90s. That's what I want. But then it was like, Adara, sometimes, you can't always get what you want. Shout out to that song. And you can't always get what you want. I'm sorry, I sang a lot today. I'm going to stop singing. But I do like this 38 area because I was like, we do have this kind of hold that we're having. I like it. We are holding it. And then I can use this 37.95 as my out. So we're risking about 37.93. So we're risking like 7-8 pennies. I'm okay with that. I would really love to see us break above this 31.80 with the viciousness. And what I'm seeing on Bitcoin is pretty similar to what I'm seeing on IBIT. So I'm really happy I took a bit of IBIT here at this level. Happy I stayed in TSLL. And honestly, again, this is one thing I'm definitely learning is, and this is why I'm trying not to trade with my P&L so much, because if you see something you like, just get into it. I know I say this so many times. I've said this an umpteen amount of times today, but it is one thing that I still think is just a proof that, sure, trades can go against you, but if they go well, then you can be proud of yourself because you saw a level you liked and you got involved. I was never going to get my 37.90, so I'm really happy I didn't sit around twiddling my thumbs and waiting for it. So please just punch with that. We're going to have to see if it continues to stay pleasing as punch, but right now I like the IBIT, and I'm willing to stay in this one for a bit and see what it gives me there. Yeah, well, NVIDIA, I know Jaylee, shout out to Jaylee for mentioning NVIDIA or NVDL. I want to see what we do here at 30.80 because that level, a little bit of chop and turn earlier, that was also going to be my potential out for one of these longs at some point that I was in this trade, but it's all good. I like it because it would be a bounce off the 90 MA at the same time it's bouncing off that previous area of chop and turn. That is what I want to see, and if I can get involved in it, that'd be awesome as well. But right now I am managing my 2 trades, babysitting Tesla and IBIT and waiting to see what happens. But NVDL, if you want me to join, just give me a call. Give me a little wave. Give me that little bounce off that 30.80, and I'll be right over. How are you? Who are your short
I got into, because I had a resting order and I just found this out. This is the second time it's happened to me today, dear. So
Tesla both times too.
Yeah, so look, I may not like this trade for much longer. It really depends on what it does. This is the range we're playing here on TSLA. We were talking about this area being an area of resistance on Tesla, but if it breaks it, that's it. I mean, that's the fact of the matter. We'll have to trade what the market gives us. We're short at 75s. It's printing 79s right now, so it's definitely not going in our way. But we are topping out a little bit here on the future. So this Tesla is going here. If it breaks, I'm going to have to give this a few more pennies. If it breaks above 90, well, then that'll be the end of my trade there. And it looks like it will be the end of my trade here as Tesla is on the way up. Here comes 143 on TSLA. Maybe we'll look to for the $1 rejection here on Tesla. Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye, seeing if it is finding some resistance around here or what it is doing. But yeah, this was the whole idea, was to play this range on Tesla and not really to dance with the whole dollar level. But it was so close to the whole dollar level, we had to should have been taking that into consideration. So yeah, I'm just going to wait a little bit longer. We lost about 15 pennies on that last Tesla trade, as it does make its way up now into 143. So looks like Tesla is breaking out of the range here. So we'll keep eyes on that. Good move here for Tesla into that 143 area. What is everybody else talking about? Yeah, I saw that, Shim King. I mentioned that to Adara earlier, which was Rivian is up in the face of very weak EVs, 1 2/3% RIVN, knocking the door of it's above 8 3/4 right now. Not one that I'm going to trade on the day, but definitely good to know. It's a counter trend trade because all the EVs are negative. So interesting look on Rivian. Yeah, interesting. Thinking maybe I should try to get short again here on Tesla and give it to the whole dollar. But I'm unsure as to what I want to do. I'm gonna think about it a little bit and send it to you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I did get out of my, well, it's not my Cybertruck because I'm TSLA, so it's my Model 2, if they make it. I got out because I didn't like we had some candles in the queues I didn't love, and one thing I'm trying to pay attention to a bit more, and shout out to Kyle Burdett, who's mentioned this, shout out to Sean, who's mentioned this to me as well. Like, you always want to see what the futures are doing sometimes in these trades, and look at these little candles just chilling out. I don't really like these candles. Those are not my favorite type of candles. Looks like we are breaking up, so I could have probably stayed in, but C'est la vie, had to do what I had to do. Took about 6 pennies with the remaining 40% of that trade, so please just punch on that. I'm in this IBIT still. IBIT, I want to see a bit more movement on you, IBIT. Although I do agree, Jay Walker saying I'm thinking long IBIT. I'm also thinking long IBIT, but I want to see a little bit more oomph. I want to see a little bit more pedal to the metal on this, or I'll have to get out, or I won't have to get out, but I'll choose to get out with 10 pennies in the money. We used to joke about the 10-cent club or the dime club, and I'm okay with doing the dance with the dime club, but I'm going to give IBIT another chance. I have no reason to leave yet, so we're gonna give this. Ooh, yes, I'll give it one more chance. Shout out to I'm saying that really poorly, but that is Jackson 5. And right now we're trying to give this 10 pennies. So we'll have to see what happens here with IBIT. I'm risking 10 pennies, so I'm cool. Or I'm risking like 7, 8 pennies, so I'm cool making 10 pennies on this. And I'll scalp out if I need to. Gap to the upside on Riot, says the incredible Mr. Lib. I like that name. Let's look at Riot. Oh my gosh, Riot's up 19%. Wow. Wow, I am playing the wrong crypto-related name here. No, I'm joking. I like the look on, for myself. I like the look on IBIT, but wow, this Riot double bounce off view up, swoop to the upside, couple little pauses there on that 9 EMA. But yeah, this one, if you were in a long, I'm sure you were having a riotous party. This is definitely a riotous occasion for you because this is a very nice move to the upside on Riot. You had a couple little resistance areas, couple little support areas, but once you surpassed them it was a pretty nice smooth sailing to the upside there on our IoT, and you are short the Cybertruck.
Yeah, I'm trying my hand again at this level. We'll get out if it breaks a whole dollar level. So I've already put some profit takers there. We'll see exactly what we get. But let me tell you what is not turning around in terms of price. It goes by the ticker AAPL, man. This thing is just on the way up. New high of day now for Apple, 166.79. It keeps heading to the upside here. Could we see 168 on the day? I mean, we're up over 1% now on AAPL. 167 coming in. Where was what was this? This is the pre-market high. On Friday, 160, no, that's not the pre-market high. This is the pre-market high, but that's like at 6 a.m., dude. Can't really base it off that. 167.25, I guess, maybe, is the level I could be looking at here for a level of resistance on AAPL. But yeah, just another high a day. Keeps going here on its way up. Good, nice recovery there for Apple. Just wet my beak on some profits now on this Tesla short, and down it goes. Please just punch about this trade here on Tesla. That was the range we wanted to play. So let me tell you, honestly, we just make up for this L that we had over here. So Nothing super profitable on the name, but I'm happy I stuck with it, and it heads right back down again. So nice short there on TSLA while everything else heads to the high side. So Tesla is showing you its propensity to kind of march to the beat of its own drum as the future is at day's highs. We could now realistically see 17.4 because we are at high of day 17.372. So well closer to the 100-point level at 400 than 300. Good recovery for the future today, up over 1% on the NQ. The NQ and the ES are identical, both up 1.11%. The Dow just lagging a bit, 0.99, essentially 1% to the good, and the Russell leading the way today, 1 1/3 in the good goes the Russ. New high day for Apple as we continue to watch that, and Tesla comes right back into that mid-50s area yet again. What is on the way up, though, is NVDA coming right back into high a day, 796.39. Here comes 795 and change. Shout out to Adara. I know she had that NVDL trade. Shout out to her. But the future is just at a new high a day right now, 82s instead of 72s now, awfully close to 17.4. Good recovery because we were talking about 17,000 hold, especially when we woke up, when we came in this morning and saw where the future was printing. Anybody who watched that big move down to the lows there that we made at 11:15, just right at the start of the show, 148, excuse me. And we're almost at 17.4. So good recovery on the futures today. We'll see what we get here. I was about to think possibly short 400 on Softy. Thankfully, I didn't do that. It's about $1 clear of that level now as it also finds its footing here on the future. But I think we have like 10 minutes left, so we can kind of slow things down a little bit. I did get to watch some interesting stuff this weekend.
Please tell me.
The most interesting was the fight Friday night. Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney. And it was a very interesting fight because Garcia had been acting super erratic. So you can kind of tell his promoters were telling him to do that so he can create hype for the fight, right? Because he was just acting like he was 10 ways to Sunday. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Like, yeah. It was out of there. And then he even, in the press conference after, he's like, guys, you really thought I was crazy, right? Like, you guys know that I was just doing this for a while. But anyway, the fact of the matter is Ryan Garcia's left hook is the real deal. If he catches you with that left hook and you're in his weight class, you're going down. The only issue, though, he needs to find more weapons. We need that right hand. We need that jab, right? You need to be able to diversify a little bit if you're going to beat someone along the level of Tank, which you lost to, obviously. But Devin Haney got put in his place. And a lot of people saying the referee really gave Devin Haney an unfair advantage. He was breaking up the clinches too quickly. He kept warning Ryan, but not warning Devin. So a lot of people were saying that, you know, it could have been more one-sided than it was, but it was a hell of a fight. Katina, man, did you watch Garcia Haney? No. You saw the highlights and stuff after? Neil, did you watch? Neil didn't watch. But yeah, my boxing fans out there, one of my favorite fights that I've seen lately too, and I've always been a fan of Ryan Garcia ever since he was with that Gymshark thing. You know, he's basically like, he made his name through Instagram.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's how he
really
got
cool.
famous. Yeah,
That's
which
really
is kind of an unusual path for a lot of boxers. Right?
Yeah, you don't see that a lot. With,
No.
That's cool. That sounds like a good fight.
Look what Stan said.
No, I just don't know. I know nothing about fights, so I'm good with it.
Yeah,
I
you're
like
usually
listening.
pretty. You're pretty good at listening.
No, and I think what's interesting too is that he won. That Ryan Garcia won, even though the ref was biased against him.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
That's an underdog story.
It wasn't a very clear-cut victory. It was a majority decision, meaning that one person had it a draw and the other two had it in favor of Ryan.
That's spicy.
Right, yeah, it is a bit spicy. The market just absolutely rocketed up. So we were talking about 17.4. Forget about that. 17.407 now, high a day. Now it's just whether we claim the break and take of 17.4. About 8 minutes left. What do you think we end up here? We end up above 17.4 or below?
Let me see it. All
right.
So what's the equivalent of that on the Qs?
The Qs. Oh, good question. Yeah, it's kind of hard
Sorry,
to tell
I'm just trying to figure it
Yeah,
out,
good question.
'cause
Good question. I don't know, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I'll put it this way. Right now I'm on the Qs. I think we're going to have to wait and see. I think, honestly, to me, I don't want to say blue sky setup because it's not blue sky setup in terms of overall, but I think it is a really nice look here. We did have a couple little pauses, but in general, since Okay, since 12:45, this is the 5-minute chart, we've had 2 red candles. This is the 5-minute. That's a lot of green candles. So to me, I would say the bullishness, by and large, outweighs any potential bearishness happening right here on the Qs. So I know levels are usually better for these futures, but I think that's going to be my take. Is just from a candle basis, like wow.
Yeah,
wow.
big move.
Ooh, and look at how small these red candles are. Like 2 disproportionately small red candles in a sea of green. So this is, to me, a very nice look. Also, congrats on your Tesla trade there.
Thank you. Yeah, I got out of Dodge
earlier. But the timing of that was excellent.
Got out of Dodge, Dara, before Tesla created a lot of stress for me. But quite frankly, I got to tell you, this is why we wait for these levels to resolve, and sometimes, we don't have the best prices because of things like that. You're not sure exactly if the market's going to turn around at key areas of resistance. This is the area that we're talking about. Earlier, we kind of range at that area, and then we really skyrocket. So I think we're going to have a nice little recovery here. Man, the market, anytime you feed it bad news, no interest rate cuts in 2024, we sell off 1,000 points, and then the next day we're pumping right back up again. So 167 got cleared and taken here by AAPL. 167.26, 143 is now a defensible level on Tesla. We'll still have to wait for 178 on Amazon, but 485 got taken as well on Meta, and 400, that was an interesting break and take for Softy there because we weren't sure exactly how that was going to resolve. They put in a bit of a doji candle, then a red candle following that, but then boom, you bought that 400, $1.50 in the money as quickly as you could have said that. And goggles, HOD, 157.17. It's at high a day right now. And the monster of them all. Be careful with this one though, because it's not clearing levels. We're at that pre-market high right now, 796.88. That takes us all the way back into that IB high at 950. We'll continue to see there. Let's just flip quickly to some of these small cappers, see what they're up to. AGBA is the real deal. Okay, I was going to say something that I shouldn't say, but all good there. 250 HOD right now on AGBA. This is a multi-day runner. Keep your eye on this one tomorrow. It could be right back in play. Higher highs, higher lows for multiple days now. Edible, no longer tradable. MLEC, also no longer tradable for me as it's well below VWAP. NKGN, this is kind of like that one we're unsure of. A little bit below VWAP, a little bit above. So we'll continue to see how this one can go. CAN, tradable, and NIVF, just a smidge below VWAP. Looks like it's giving up the ghost here, Dara, as we dip down below 17.4 again.
Yeah, these markets, wow. Sean, are you still long, Mara? Yeah, so shout out to Sean. Sean is more than dollar money in the Mara. I pulled up Mara for somebody else, and I realized you got long like 1580s, right? So I was like, nice look there. Shout out to Sean, who you'll be able to see it in 4 minutes. Today flew by, oh my gosh. Yes. But yeah, so this MARA, Min wanted to look at MARA. Yeah, this is a really nice look here. Kind of coming into that previous top area, but we'll have to see if Mara can continue its marathon to the upside or if it's going to pass the baton a little bit to some of its other crypto-related friends. Also, speaking of crypto, I want to talk about IBIT. I took this long. This actually could be a range, which, like I said, I don't trade beyond the midday, so that would be, we're not going to get involved in this anymore, but I have to say, I want to, oh.
You want me to cover? Yeah, I can cover. Yeah, okay, no problem. All right, Dara's mic just fell, so she's going to fix that quickly as we dip below 17.4. So I'm keeping my eyes on those same levels that we had earlier. I'm talking about that 400 on Softy. I'm talking about 142 on TSLA. Well, I mean, I'm not really all that surprised that we are getting that rejection at these levels because NVIDIA was right there at that key area of resistance. We kept just talking about that, not saying that we reject. And keep in mind, quite frankly, look at these. I mean, we're still putting in higher lows. The dips off the 10 on NVIDIA are being bought up. If I had to guess, if I had to bet here, I think we break above 800 on the day on NVIDIA, just owing to this succession of higher highs and higher lows incrementally made and not, not propelling to the high side, kind of showing what could be a mean reversion trade. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, sir, thank you for taking over there. My microphone fell. My mic pack fell, and then things happen. So thank you very much to Sheree for that. But yeah, this IBIT, I liked this. And honestly, I was pretty proud of myself because usually I don't stay for things when they have 5-day breaks. I get out right before the previous high, but I stayed. I watched. I saw we broke above. Then I was like, we pulled back a little bit, got out. So pretty proud. I wasn't there for the break into that 38.15 high. I was there for the break into 38.13, and I got out at 38.11. So pretty happy, because I know this wouldn't seem like a super like risky, daring trade for a lot of people, but it was for me. So I think we have to, you know, for myself, I'm going to be proud of that for myself. And then maybe next time we'll stay involved until 38.15, right? Who knows? So baby steps, especially as going live. But yeah, really happy with how the trading went today. TQs and I were not besties, but I'm proud with what I got done on the markets today, with the NVDL especially. And I think one of the themes, we only have like a 15 seconds left, but one thing I want to point out is today, the theme really has been support and resistance coming in. Right. A lot of these previous levels here on the TQs, look, this trough then became support, then we had support becoming resistance, right? Like there's so many levels, and I think NVIDIA is another really clear example where we'd have these troughs coming in, these previous resistance areas coming in, these chop insurance here, this topping tail candle here at 795 before we make that new high of day, right? So I think not always you're going to get support and resistance so clear. Today, I definitely think we did. Is there anything else you're looking at?
Just PDD, I want to remind everybody that Pinduo Duo, very strong, unusually strong for an ADR at this time of day. It is trying to hold 122 right now, up 7.5%. This one could find some support at the whole dollar level, and it's also the 50-period moving average on the one. Keep your eye on this one if you're looking for something long, but I think it is now 2 o'clock, Adara.
It is 2 o'clock, so we'll see you tomorrow for more bull flag breakouts, finding out how to ride that bull flag. Same bat time, same bat channel. For now, though, Brendan's at the big desk.
See you guys.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome in. 2 o'clock, 2 hours to go on a Monday afternoon here as we, back to the upside. What sell-off? Still some room to go as far as what happened on Friday, but retracing a significant